What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, on 30NSG. How's everyone doing this day? On today's show, we're going to be talking about the Wall Street Journal has a video called Xbox Lost the Console War, but now it's redefining gaming. We're going to watch that video. We're going to talk about Space Marines 2 players are having trouble playing co-op. Who would have thought that was coming? And then Starfield's long-awaited major expansion is locked to one planet. They're damned if they do, and they're damned if they don't. So we'll talk about these three main topics, and if we have time, we'll also talk about the Switch 2 images have allegedly leaked, suggesting powerful leap forward for Nintendo. Do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like what I do here, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do podcasts on this channel. We do live streams on this channel. We do gameplay on this channel. Lots of different things. We do morning shows, evening shows. So if you'd like to support us in any way, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit the membership button. We do appreciate you very much. What's going on, Roadkill? What's going on, Stealth? What's going on, Eclipse? What's going on, Travis? What's going on, Mo? Stealth? Water Bear, good morning. Travis, you know it's funny that you say stuff like this, which is awful, by the way, right? If CM Punk guy... who, if a car hit him today, I'd be tap dancing, is literally awful to anybody thinking anything like that. But at the same time, that guy, CM Punk, the wrestler, is doing his job so well that you're so invested in wrestling that you would want the man to die. Right? Do you know what I mean? So, if it wasn't for him being so good at his job, you wouldn't have any emotion towards that. Just remember that. Just remember that. What's going on, Drummond? What's going on, Argus? If you want someone to physically get injured for your enjoyment, you're an awful human being for saying stuff like that. I'm just letting you know. I never said die. Oh, for God's sakes. Go on, Dolphin. All right, so let's get started. Let's start off with Space Marines 2. Roadkill says, but we all laugh when we see someone take a hard fall on a snowboard or skateboard or bike. That's right. There's a difference when someone eats it and you know they're okay. There's that split millisecond when someone gets kicked in the nuts or falls off a swing or falls off a fence and they're hanging by their underwear, because for a split second you're like, oh my God, because you know they're not dead. Yeah. Yeah, there's that brief moment. Travis, I'm going to tell you, just you're 3 seconds. 3 seconds away. 3 seconds away. We don't ban. But you won't be talking for a couple minutes. Ron Slusher says 30 and wrestling podcast coming soon. I used to love wrestling. In the heyday, back in my heyday, like 97 to like 99 or 96 to like 99 was like the pinnacle of wrestling. The pinnacle of wrestling for me. When you had Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, Goldberg, right? You had all of those guys doing what they were doing in that 3-year span, 4-year span. Such a good time in wrestling. I couldn't tell you two shits about anything that's going on right now. I have family in wrestling. I have multiple relatives in wrestling. Like greatness in wrestling that we're attached to. I used to work for the Hogan Knows Best show. I used to love wrestling. Love wrestling. I just don't have time, Eclipse. That's what it is. I'm focused on so many other things that I don't have time to enjoy stuff like that. My dad watches it. My dad tells me stuff all the time. He's so passionate about it. He's like, oh, you got to watch this match. And when he comes up, he'll watch some wrestling. I'll sit down with him and watch it. But for the most part, I don't have time to watch it. Oh, the WWE Raw on Monday? Loads of fun. Oh, we used to go to them all the time. I used to go back to... I used to film the TNA wrestling in the back lot of Universal. And then we also used to go... What was the... with Taz and the Sandman. What was that wrestling called? I forget what it was called. ECW? Is that what it was? ECW back in the day? Yeah, ECW. Yep. Wrestling's huge in Florida. That's where most of the wrestlers come. They come to Tampa. They go to Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, some good stuff. Sabuka. Man, the tax matches they used to have and stuff. Such a good time for seeing all that stuff. I got Taz's blood on me. We were at the Fort Lauderdale Memorial Stadium. We were sitting like 3-4 rows back. They were having a match, and he hit him, and blood shot on us. I had literally Taz's blood on my face. It was disgusting and awesome all at the same time. Krebsy says, speaking of people getting hurt, the UFC fight in the Vegas Sphere looked cool. I don't even know what you're talking about. I have to look that up. Yeah, Taz back in the day was a badass. Dusty Rhodes. Yeah, we have two relatives of mine. Was it 3 actually? We have Mike Rotundo, who was IRS. Okay, he's from my mom's side. Distant cousin. Never met him myself, but he's part of our family. And then Superstar Billy Graham was another relative of mine. These two wrestlers are huge back in the day. Huge. I've met hundreds of wrestlers, and most of them are like to themselves type of guys. Like they don't like to. They're showboaters and stuff like that. But when they're out of the ring, they're pretty contained. Come on, Kylo. Yeah, we have a lot of fighters, boxers, wrestlers, in our family lineage. No, I've seen the Vegas Sphere. I just didn't watch the fight in the Vegas Sphere. I know what the Vegas Sphere is. I'm not fucking living under a rock. Mo says, so apparently Starfield needed saving. That's the new me. Come on, Akuta Papa. Well, it's gonna be funny. We're going to talk about Starfield in a second because they're damned if they're due and they're damned if they don't, Mo. It doesn't matter what they do. It's underneath a fucking microscope of what Starfield needs to do. Right? Like, they say one thing, then when they do that thing, they're like, well, they could have done this. And then they do something else, and they're like, well, they could do this. It's like, yeah. There's nothing more under a microscope than what Starfield is. Someone has hacked it before, Dolphin. Someone has hacked it. And then it's also had the blue screen of death on it as well. All right, let's talk about the first story of Space Marines 2. Okay, I like how it's weird. There should be a comment because like Space Marines 2, players are having trouble playing co-op, but it's like Space Marine 2 players. I don't know, it's weird. Space Marine 2 players are having trouble playing co-op. Imagine this, where Space Marine 2 players playing co-op are having problems. Who could have seen this coming? Who? Did you see it coming? Did you see it coming? You guys see it coming? I saw it coming. Okay. If you guys like what I do here, we just cover news stories, have conversations with chat. Chat is 1,000% part of the show. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay. So despite Warhammer 40k Space Marines 2 enjoying both critical and commercial success, fans continue to suffer from issues playing the game, co-op mode, and online component in general. While Space Marines 2 delivers an action-packed story mode, the game also features several ways to play online, both cooperatively and competitively. However, the game's co-op mode is notoriously difficult to get working, with Space Marine 2 players feeling frustrated by the all-too-common matchmaking error. It's you know what? I love when I'm right. I love when I'm right. Okay? You can't make this shit up. We knew it was going to happen, okay? Everyone's like, well, I'm having fun. Why pay $70, $60, $70, $100 for a game when features are broke, when features are just not working, when content's not in the game? I don't care how good the game is. It's not a full product at launch, right? And I'll continue to say that every single day until we see games that come out that are not broken, buggy, and unfinished for the full price. All right. Developers at Saber Interactive Space Marines 2 once again transports fans into a grim, desolate world of Warhammer 40k, offering an intense, satisfying third-person shooter. Okay. And the steep, rich lore of Warhammer 40k embodied Lieutenant Titus, as they also in the Army of Space Marines 2 battle seamlessly never-ending swarms. Okay. The players test their shooting skills in the arena-like PvP settings as well as cooperative mode. Unfortunately, this co-op mode is proving to affect Space Marines 2 overall functionality. Oh, you mean broke, unfinished game. You mean a game-breaking game. All right. The dreaded joining server bug has plagued prospective Space Marines since Space Marines 2 first launched earlier this month, causing headaches when trying to play the game's 3-player co-op mode. A massive thread has been shared on Reddit detailing known issues and glitches within the Space Marine 2's multiplayer, and Space Marine 2 launched with a noticeable omission of a private PvE lobby option, making matchmaking with friends often tedious and frustrating. There are workarounds, okay, but thankfully, though, many of them agree that Space Marine 2 desperately needs a private lobby option, okay? So Space Marine 2 is facing matchmaking issues. Space Marine 2's PvE mode is easy to join for those who are a full lobby of players playing the game solo with randoms. However, the game mode can leave players hanging in only to happen to have 2 out of the 3 needed launch for operations. Reports claim that 2-player launching matchmaking can be stuck searching for third person for quite some time, and there also have been reports that Space Marines 2 crashes while trying to find multiplayer games. Fixes to these issues may come in the future. May come in the future. Oh man, I love things like this. They may fix it. They may come in the future update with plenty more exciting things planned for Space Marines 2. Space Marines 2 launched with packed content roadmap. Yeah, their roadmap was packed. All right, that lays out the game's upcoming expansions and future content. Now, Warhammer 40k Space Marines 2's upcoming second season will begin in October and will last until the end of 2024, which is Season 2, adding several new items, features that will keep things feeling fresh for players. Look, you guys could tell me you're having fun all day long and the game is fantastic, and at the end of the day, the truth comes out, and I'm right once again. Games are broke, buggy, and unfinished. They're asking for your money up front for a half-ass game. And when I say half-ass, doesn't mean the game is half-ass. It means the content that you're paying for is half-ass, and the features that they have in the game are broke. The co-op, I said in the beginning, if the co-op works, I would be interested in the game. I'm glad I held off because of everything else that was missing from the game as far as the horde mode, other game modes, different guns, different maps. Okay, only 6 missions. Okay, if you're playing it for the story, you like PvP, cool. If you're excited to pay full price and wait 1 year for the whole thing to be complete, congratulations, you are a bad customer. Okay, it's okay to be a bad customer. Just know that you're a bad customer. Okay, when you wait for something and pay what it's worth, when you actually pay for something that's actually worth the price of a mission, when it has a complete game, when it's working, when it's not broke, when it's not buggy, then and only then should you pay full price when the product is done. But only in the video game industry do we get these things where the things come out and they say, we're listening, we'll fix it later, we're sorry, and then they'll get it down the way. Here's my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think of Space Marines 2? Did you buy it? Did you play it? Are you having issues with it? Are you loving it? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the live chat right now. If you like what we do here, please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let me see what you guys are saying in chat. Because it doesn't matter how much fun you're having in the game. If things are broke in the game and they're like, well, they may fix it. They may fix it. Well, they made all the money they need to make, so why fix it? If they've already sold it to 90% of the population that likes the game and wants to play the game, then and they made their money, they made a profit, then why even try to fix it? Because people are still going to eat what they're given. Eclipse says, we know 2 people in this chat room. One of them refunded it and stopped saying, you know nobody, right? Reese says, yeah, launching at 30 frames per second is incomplete. Love chat sometimes. Space Marines 2 is fun as hell. The servers are pretty buggy. And the fact that that's the issue, but it's too late now. It's too late. You've already put more than 2 hours in. You're still going to deal with it. And you'll be like, I'll come back later and check it out, right? Roadkill says, I'm just talking about PvP multiplayer. I haven't tried hooking up with other friends. I don't have any. Sard says, it's a good game. Finally made 40K game at decent. But it's not feature complete. And multiplayer is not stable, so it's not done. This isn't difficult to talk about. Right. But it doesn't matter about the problem, Sarge, because they've made the sales. It's the second most, is it the second most or the most popular Warhammer game ever to come out? Mo says, man, I'll keep saying frames per second is QOL thing. Starfield has complete game. Jason says, Travis, still $130 for something that doesn't work. Great deal. Co-op does work, just don't do randos. No, it actually doesn't do. It doesn't work. People that are friends on the friends list are still crashing. Still get the errors. See? This is a trash defender, right? You guys are like trash defenders. When you defend a game that's actually broke, because it doesn't happen to you doesn't mean it's not broke. It's a broke, buggy, unfinished content feature complete game. Okay? It's happening. It's happening. So much so that there's a whole Reddit forum full of thousands and thousands of people that it's happening to. I like the game. I didn't pay for it. I got it for free with my new GPU. But wouldn't you be a little upset? All right? Because if you paid full price for it, imagine paying the 80, 90, whatever it was to get 3 days early access and you couldn't get multiplayer working because you can't play with your friends. Connection issues, server errors. Roadkill says, awesome game, and I love it. And now that PvP works, I'm never going to stop playing. All right, see you next week when you're like, man, I'm bored. Roadkill says, stop talking about me, Mike. Well, stop typing, and then I'll stop talking. Roadkill says, how quick do you think it'll take game science to push out a new game since they had just such a successful watch that they start popping out AAA games every other year? That's too it's too fast. It's too fast. If they're doing that, the quality goes down. But again, if it sells, then it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Krebsy says Warhammer 40K would be an easy universe for Helldiver style game. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That would be a smart move if they did that, Krebsy. Travis says, I never heard of anyone with issues doing friends lists, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Well, I guess because you didn't hear about it, it's never happened. No, there's articles being written. Co-op hasn't been working since day one launch, right? But no one's going to talk about that because, well, it's a good game. They're having fun. Rokiel says, I mean, about bad consumers, I mean, great consumer. I give them all the money. Yeah. Yeah. You give them all the money and you give them all the power because they're like, oh, these guys paid full price for an incomplete game. Thank you. Roadkill says I couldn't barely play. I couldn't barely play the game until last night at 8 p.m. and they didn't. And they did something to the servers and fixed it for me. Well, congratulations, congratulations. Working for you, not working for many other people. Trash Knight Defender. You mean like a game that's a fly-through ring simulator and nothing more? Which game is that, Travis? Is the flying through ring simulator? Is it work day one? Does it have all the content in the game that you're talking about? Does it crash? Does it have online multiplayer? Does it have all the features? Because if it does, then it's not a broken buggy game. But if it is a broken buggy game, then just toss it in with everything else. Oh, you're talking about Starfield. Well, we already talked about Starfield, right? I even said people paid for the expansion 1 year in advance. It's in the same category. It's in the same category. You're paying for the DLC 1 year in advance. Throw it in the pile. Throw it in the pile. East Vandal says, 30, you should cover the Black Hogan new AC Shadows video. It's pretty good. I would have to... I mean, we can cover it, but I have other things I'm going to do today. If we have time at the end, I'll do it. Mike, did you see the Forever Winter? It's only on PC. I have not. Yeah, Krebsy, he's talking about the main story campaign when you fight the Star-Lord guys and you have to fly through the ring a couple times. He's missing the other 99.9% of the game where you actually go around and play the game. Roadkill says, I paid $30 on Game Pass for a premium edition of Starfield. Does that mean I get the Shattered Space DLC for free? Well, not free, but already paid for it. Yes. If you pay the $30 because you don't own the game, but you paid $30 to get the 3-day or 5-day early access, then you have the Shattered Space. You paid $30 for the DLC, but you don't own the game, but you own the DLC or the license for the DLC. Yeah, you get the DLC. Bo says, yep, you got the DLC. Yeah. Dolphin says, yeah, that's right. Proves Travis hasn't played it. Boy, he's played it at a friend's house. Reddit House says, skip Space Marines 2 for now and played Remnant 2. Game is amazing. Well, Remnant 2's been out for what, a year? Over a year? So if it had problems, it's probably good now, right? We didn't really cover Remnant 2 when it came out, so I don't know if it's actually broke or buggy when it came out. Benefit of the doubt is that it probably was. Travis is the most diehard Xbox fan that's never played Xbox. Like, he hates it so much, but he talks about more games on Xbox than Xbox fans do. It's amazing. I think he talks more about Xbox games than Mo. And Mo plays everything. Mo plays everything. Come on, Al Dente. Yeah, I don't know if Remnant 2 was buggy or not. I don't know. We never covered it. Travis says, because Xbox is the best system for me to point out what's wrong with gaming 2024. And that's why I pick on you, Travis, because you're the best point of what's wrong with gaming in 2024. Bad consumerism. Right? Someone paying $80, $100, $120 for a game when it comes out, broke, buggy, and unfinished, and someone paying $20 a month for the same thing. Do you see the difference? Although he says, yeah, I play with friends and love that game. And by played, I mean they carried me. Nice for you to admit that. It takes a big man to admit when you get carried through something. Just like when we played Fortnite back in the day, Al Dente. You carried me. Was Space Marines 2 on Game Pass? No. Space Marines 2 wasn't on Game Pass yet. Not yet. But it will be. It will be. I still have my clips where I took out, like, it was like 7 or 8 people. I don't know if I was playing with you or if I was playing with... Oh, no, I was playing with Dustin. I was playing with Dustin. Not Dustin that's in chat now. At least I don't think it's the same Dustin. We were playing with Dustin. I forget his actual... I know his Twitter handle. I don't know his gamer tag anymore. But I used to play a lot of Fortnite with him. We were the Bush Brothers. We would stay in the bushes. Remember when they put the bushes in there? Oh man, good times. We just run around bushes the entire match. That's it. Santos. Yeah. He still talks to me through Twitter and whatnot. I don't know if he's actually in channel every once in a while. I think he comes in for the GXG podcast. The next story is Travis's second favorite shit-talking game behind Elden Ring is Starfield. Okay, is Starfield. Okay, and what I find funny about Starfield is that the entire time Starfield came out, and everyone was like, why do they have 1,000 planets? Right? I was one of the people like, why do they have 1,000 planets? They should just have 10 planets and have it as filled as possible, right? But they have 1,000 planets. Everyone's like, it's too many. It's too big. We need a car to go around. And now, okay, Starfield's long-awaited major expansion is locked to one planet. Like, do you see the issue? It's damned if it does and damned if it doesn't. Okay, no matter what Starfield does, it's always a problem, right? People are like, it's too big. There needs to be more handcrafted things. They give a handcrafted thing and they're like, you're only stuck on one planet. It's like, fuck's sake. It's like, if you want to play the expansion, it takes place on this one thing. The rest of the galaxy is still open. You can still go to those 1,000 planets. You can still go do whatever you want in the game. But the expansion's on one planet, okay? It's so Stupid. Okay? These are the same people that complained that it was too big, and now they're complaining that the expansion's only on one planet. Like, how do you do this? Right? The fact that it's 30 by 30 tiles per planet is not a planet. I mean, technically it is a planet, right? But it's not a full planet like No Man's Sky, right? Dolphin says, I thought they didn't travel from planet to planet. Do we know the price for Shattered Space? I think it's $30, Barry. I think it's $30 if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so let's read this, right? Because it was too big before, and they're like, we need more handcrafted stuff. So they give a handcrafted thing, and now they're like, it's only on one planet. So Shattered Space is on the horizon, launching more than a year and a half. More than a year? Oh, okay, I thought it was a year and a half. A year after Starfield was released to the world in 2023. Now, Bethesda Game Studios finally pushed Starfield out to the open market and being met with mixed receptions and some critical feedback that also could come shape the future of the ambitious space-based RPG. Now, Shattered Space is the first major expansion for Starfield, but it won't be the last. Recently, Bethesda took to a deep dive into the gameplay mechanics centered around Shattered Space, stressing that the entire expansion unravels on a single planet. Now, explore every nook and cranny. In a recent deep dive published by Bethesda Game Studios, foundational principles of Shattered Space were laid out. It explained that BGC or BGS, the entire expansion takes place on Varun, okay, a homeworld of House Varun, is isolation, a society shrouded by mystery and intrigue. And that the team is also confirmed at no point does the DLC leave that actual planet. Okay, so from minute to minute arrive on Velrune, it's also the story needs to send you off planet. You're free to leave anytime, but the story is fully centered around the life of Varune's home world. We wanted to give the opportunity to explore every nook and cranny in this location and find clues as if one of these people really are what happened to them. Thanks to IGN on the quotes, it says, eagle-eyed users know that the description of Shattered Space mentions that Varun is also a fully handcrafted location, which is also filled with community with a sense of hope. One of the flaws of Starfield was it promised endless exploration opportunities, turned out to be a rinse and repeat of caves, bases, settlements, and identical structures laid out and enemy positions. I hope for their sake, not one other piece of content that they put on any of the 1,000 procedurally generated planets is on that planet. Because if somebody notices an outpost on the handcrafted thing, or the same type of rock, or the same type of whatever. What is on my... Something crawling on me. All right. The same type of rock, or the same type of whatever. Okay. They're going to be like, they lied. This is not handcrafted. They're using the same assets over and over. So sadly, the faction element of Starfield was also overwhelming with many players, including myself, coming away with no real sense of attachment to the factions, and they were memorable to the same way that the Dark Brotherhood from Elder Scrolls on Brotherhood of Steel from Fallout are memorable, which is a shame. Hopefully Shattered Space can heal the flaw in a little, and as a House of Varun interesting enough on paper. Are you looking forward to Shattered Space? Let us know. Okay, so obviously the headline itself was clickbait, and it worked. Congratulations. You got me to click on it. Okay. But they're talking about just what the game is, which is a handcrafted thing, which is what the consumers asked for, right? The consumers said, we want more handcrafted areas. They also like the vast of space and the 1,000 planets, the people that actually like playing the game and exploring, but they wanted more handcrafted areas on the thing. And I think this is twofold. I think, one, obviously they have the main campaign like they did in Fallout, where they're going to add the DLCs to Starfield, okay? And to Fallout 76 and all their other past games. But they're also going to depend on, which is already happening, the modding community that also adds different things on planets, handcrafted little things, where it's the exploration, the imagination of their fans that play the game, and they can put it in there for free or for paid or for whatever. And it's already happening. There's so many different missions that you can do in the game right now, not from Bethesda, from the actual modding community. So if you want more Starfield, you can get more Starfield, right? And then they're putting this in. I do think it's a little long in between the launch of Starfield and the thing after. Now, they didn't say it was like a live service game. They never said it was a live service game. This is a paid DLC, and if you bought the game originally and you didn't buy the DLC, you would have to pick up the DLC. And if you're on Game Pass and you purchase the $30 early access or premium edition, then you get this DLC for that $30 that you spent. So the next expansion that comes out also will be enough. Now, it is a little varying of price, right? So we did pay that one price that they gave us, the free, I forget what the currency is called, creation coins or whatever the hell they are, where they gave us 1,000 for free, okay, to spend inside the store. And there's that one mission that costs $7, right, which is $7, and it was literally like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe an hour long. And then here you are paying $30, and there's 50 locations on this handcrafted planet. So there's a little discrepancy of what the value of price is, of what they do in the creation store and what they're doing for actual major DLC. So hopefully that it doesn't take another year before they make the next part of the DLC or the next story-based DLC for this. But most likely it probably will. I think it leads up. I haven't played this yet. We're going to be playing it September 30th. It comes out, which I think is a Monday, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll probably play it on stream in the evening. Go back to Jack Burton's Adventures, okay, Captain's Log, and play the new expansion. And then once the expansion's over, I was saying this to Sarge on GXG Podcast, which you can go watch on Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. I was saying I hope that the DLC, because it takes place on one planet, and these people have not been in the game yet. Now that we save them or find out what's going on the home planet, okay, and that faction now joins the rest of the universe. So when you're on different planets, all of a sudden Varun is everywhere, right? Where they have ships out in the world. They're on different planets. There's different factions. Maybe there's different faction quests that you can join, not just on the planet, but after the fact as well. Hopefully it expands the entire game, not just you do the DLC and this is the only place that you see them. Now, they did say in the deep dive that Crimson Fleet and Vanguard and all of them will be on that planet as well, and you would be fighting off different factions on that planet. But I also hope it works the opposite direction as well, where House of Varun will now be throughout the entire galaxy or in certain quadrants of the galaxy. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me also know what you think in the live chat. Are you looking forward to Shattered Space? It does look more like horror-esque type of stuff, like a Deep Space. I'm sorry. Was it Deep Space? No. What's that? What is that? Dead Space. Deep Space. Dead Space, right? Dead Space, where it feels like that horror stuff. They even said it in the deep dive that it's going to be more of a up-close and personal type of thing, where if you don't like that type of stuff, you're going to be using melee weapons. If you don't have a melee build, maybe you want to switch up, or maybe you got to get the shotguns and stuff for the close combat. Someone said it the other day, I think it was, who said it the other day? I forget who said it the other day. But they said that their playstyle is not up close, so this doesn't work for them, right? And I totally get that, right? And I kind of agree with that, right? Don't force me down this path of, because of the build I have, now I have to switch my build to go to up close for this section. But we'll see what happens. These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think of Starfield? Do you think Starfield is dead? Do you think it's still living on? Do you think that this will change and make it like a 1.0 or 2.0 type of thing? Will this be for the people that hate Starfield, will this be that No Man's Sky turnaround for Starfield? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Waterbear says, bro, I visited about 30 planets. The game has 1,000 planets, for fuck's sake. Sarge says, hey, bro, by the way, I found the lunar module in Starfield. It was a side quest I found accidentally, and it's still kind of cool to see it there. Still boring, but cool. Have you downloaded the Star Wars mods yet, Starch? It could be boring, but with Star Wars, which makes it a little bit cooler. Mo says, this is why Starfield is the game of a generation. You know what I think its problem with? Let me go back to that. You know what I think the problem with that is, Mo? Is that they labeled it as a game of generation. If the people played the game and said this game is like game of a generation, like we say for like Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that, I don't think it would get as shit on. But they gave themselves, like, you don't give yourself a nickname. You know what I mean? Waterbear says, I'll have fun playing Starfield. I'll playing Shattered Space for sure. Damn if you do, damn if you don't. It's a problem. If Space Marines 2 had no roadmap, people would complain it doesn't have enough. Well, it doesn't have enough. It doesn't have enough at launch. That's what people were complaining about. campaign's too short, not enough content, and crossplay's not working. El Dente says it's the same as people with make Star Wars say this isn't for the diehard fans, and then they say it's because the diehard fans are not watching it, and we have to cancel it. Right. Barry says $30 is cheap. Yeah, $30, 50 locations. I don't know what it turns out to be. Probably someone will go through it so fast that they'll be like, "There's only 10 hours of content or whatever." Is it worth it? Right. And we brought this up a couple of months ago when they had the $7, right? And I was like, $7 an hour. I was like, so if they make 5 hours at the end, is it worth $35? You know what I mean? If it's 10 hours, right? Is it enough? This will be a conversation to have once Shattered Space comes out and we see what's going on. Jason says, wrong. Baldur's Gate 3 is the game of a generation. Right, but they didn't label that. We labeled it that. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. When the company comes out and says, we're the greatest game ever, and it's going to be a game of a generation type of thing, it looks bad. But when the fans say, the community says, hey, this is a game of a generation, that's completely different. Travis says 30, but it's a handcrafted. It's their hands, which is used for computer, which crafted it. Sure, but they actually drew the stuff and made the stuff, and then they coded it and did the stuff, and so it is handcrafted. New problem with Starfield is that there's no Diddy Freak Fest. 2 out of 10. Kuda Papa says East Vandal. 2 out of 10. Can't F a bear. Yeah. Yeah, without the expansion, Starfield would fade away. I disagree with that. I disagree with that, Jason, because the modding community, which has got more mods than I've ever seen early on in the first year as Starfield, that people say that modders are leaving. There's more mods coming out for Starfield each and every single day. That just if Bethesda didn't make anything and the modders kept bringing stuff in, and I'm not even talking about the Star Wars mods. I'm literally talking about content that the modders are making and putting it in for like side quests and different things. It wouldn't fade away. It'll fade away for people that weren't interested in Starfield, but that's any game. You could insert here. Helldivers would fade away. If it wasn't for the patch, it would fade away. But that's not really true. It would fade away for majority of the people, but there's still have that fan base that would still play Helldivers, right? Aldante says, I wanted to bring it up. I finally won an axe throwing league and had a bunch of 2 and 3rd places, but I finally won. Nice, dude. Congratulations for winning your first axe throwing league. That's awesome. My wife actually wants to do, we've talked about this. My wife actually wants to do axe throwing. She's interested in it. She's got a lot of pent up anger, I guess, and she wants to, she wants to throw axes. So I was thinking about building something for her on the property so she could throw it. Feels good, man. Says one main planet sounds interesting, though. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think what a lot of people want. I think this is it's not feasible that Bethesda could do this. Feel good, man. But I think what more people want is quicker updates with different things on different planets, right? More handcrafted stuff on other planets. And this is what I was talking about in the very beginning. Instead of putting 1,000 planets in the solar system, you could have focused on 10 planets and did 10 handcrafted planets, and then like the expansion comes out and you add like a next solar system which is like 5 planets or something, and that could be like the handcrafted stuff like that. That's what I said they should have done in the beginning. Now they're doing this. Obviously we don't know how good or bad it will be. We'll see when it comes out, but this is what most people wanted. Okay, but I'm sure people will complain. This article didn't complain, but the headline seemed like it was going to be, now it's locked to 1 planet. But I think people will complain that it's not enough content or it's too small or type of stuff. Jason says, you're right. Mods can turn into Star Wars, keep it going. It just goes to show that the generic base game is. Sure, but I think a lot of people... I don't know if you've ever played it, Jason. If you go to the Creation Store, there's lots of people that love the game, and they've added, like, companions, or they've added side missions, or they've added actual bases and different things and different story plots inside the game. And this is not talking about Star Wars mod or anything like that. This is just actual game that you could just do for the base game, that you could go to a different planet. There's like a settlement over there that gives out quests and stuff like that. Like the community itself, say what you want about Bethesda's janky games. Let me tell you something. Fallout 76, okay, it's one of the best communities out there in gaming. As far as community that actually helps people, the content that they bring to the game and what people go around, it was a shitty game. 100% a shitty game when it came out, but over the years it's gotten better and better, okay? And it's one of the better community live service games out there. Starfield, say what you want about Bethesda, but the community, the player base, the modders that make stuff for Fallout 3, for Skyrim, for all that stuff, is a great community. There's a great community with inside Bethesda games itself. Eclipse says they said that it's a deep dive, that they're going to have more DLC, so kind of want to wait until it all comes out and then buy everything. I've already waited this long. But how long does that mean, though, Eclipse? Does it mean that they have more DLC? Is it once a year? Twice a year? You know what I mean? Like, what are they going to do, and how long will that be? I said that for Outlaws. Yeah. Outlaws should have put all the stuff in there at once, and then they should have come out with DLC that, like 8 months, 10 months down the road. But that's not what they did. They're marketing the game because they want the monthly subscription, and they want to sell you on the other stuff that they're doing. Dolphin says, Lono says it reminds him of Taken King. Kind of agree. Oh, like this is that moment. I don't know. That is a lot to put on to be disappointed. In the very beginning of this year, I said expectations, keep it low. I wouldn't go in thinking that this expansion is that Taken King moment for Starfield. I wouldn't do that personally. Sarge says the suits can't call it game of a generation, the players do. Right. When they come out and say it's a game of a generation, that's when it's like, what are you guys doing? You can't do that. If this is the future of Bethesda, then the future of Elder Scrolls and Fallout look bleak. If you want an Elder Scrolls 6, I mean, yeah, I get it. I get it. But look, there's plenty of companies that would love to have as many hits underneath one umbrella as Bethesda does with Skyrim, Fallout, Starfield. People say that it's not a hit, but it's the most played game they've ever created. So take that, not in sales, I don't know, but it's the most game that's ever been played that they've ever come out with, right? They have so many hits under one IP, under one studio. There's a lot of studios that would kill for that type of stuff. We've had a conversation about this. They have so many IPs that are good or great in sales and just popularity that they can't do them all, right? They can't do them all. And that's a problem because they have to like outsource them to someone else to keep them going, right? Right now they're in a predicament, right? Because the Fallout series came out, boomed all the Fallout games. It's like, well, do we continue making a Fallout 5 or do we work on Skyrim 6? Or do we put more content towards Starfield? Just Hilly says, I feel off Starfield quickly. I will check the DLC because I already own it, and I'm also very naughty boy. Fell off Starfield quickly. Let's see. Magic Dolphin says, I bet this will be the new model. Just add a planet every time. But think about that. Like, do you have to wait a year every year? So they're only going to be adding, what, 5 years? 5 planets? I don't want to say that's good or bad. I don't know how much the content of Shattered Space is, right? That'd be underwhelming, wouldn't it? Even if they do 2 a year. Was that 10 planets over the next 5 years? That doesn't seem like a lot either. Travis says, 30, people will complain and do games come out buggy. Yes, but people will complain because it's what they enjoy doing. 30 is what that gives them pleasure, and they can't be happy unless nobody is happy. That's not true either. People are upset because there's something inherent bad about the game. If it's unfinished, if it's buggy, if it's broke, and people pay their hard-earned money, and they want to make a product that they want to pay for that's complete. And their anger from that, from one game to the next, it just keeps building up. It just keeps building up. So they're going to bitch about it. Just like I told you that co-op wouldn't work. And here we are, co-op's not working. right? You're enjoying the game, but co-op's not working. These are facts, right? Argus said Concord already disappeared and it removed access to it and the ability to even buy it. Can't even more disappeared in current day than that. Well, yeah, they're disappearing because it's tax write-off. They have to make it disappear. They have to make it disappear. Buddha Papa says 30 DLC over 10 years. Yeah, was it 10 planets if they do one a year? Eclipse says, so why is Overwatch on Game Pass now? Do we get certain things for playing it on Game Pass? I think there's some bonuses or stuff. I'm not too sure. I don't know that answer off the top of my head. More than Fallout Shelter? More than what? More than Fallout Shelter meaning... did someone say something else about that I missed? Fallout Shelter's... Oh, you're saying for popularity, Hilly, is what you're saying. You're saying... You're saying that the more popularity, Fallout Shelter is more popular than Starfield. Obviously, it's mobile, so I don't think mobile and console, so maybe not. I don't know. They don't share the numbers. They just said it was the most played game ever. So I don't know. Is that concurrent? Is that all at one time? I mean, in overall the entire span, I have no idea. Oh, just Hilly. Are you Hilly Hijinks, or is this a different Hilly? I can't keep track of people if they change their names and stuff like that. It's that Hilly? Okay. Sarge says you wouldn't have to divide the workforce between current game trying to make more content and trying to make the next game. If you would just... Well, here's the thing, right? How do they separate working on Elder Scrolls 6, working on Fallout 5, working on content for Fallout 76, working on Starfield content, right? There's a lot of people, right? There's a lot of people working on the game, and it's like, where's their attention right now? Do they shift it over? Now they're done with Shattered Space. Does this group move over and start working on Elder Scrolls 6? But then who's working on the next expansion for Starfield? There's so much, right? There's so many IPs in this one company that they're spreading themselves thin. Is that good or bad? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have an article by Jason Schreier down the road that tells us they've been overworked or something. Dolphin says, or they could add a black hole with 2 or 3 planets at once, an alternative universe in Fallout and Skyrim. Dude, I would love, and I've said this in the past, Dolphin, if they connected the dots where we find out that Fallout takes place in the same universe as Starfield. It doesn't mean a lot. Like, Skyrim also takes place in the same universe, but just farther. You know what I mean? Like, that would be interesting. You know what I mean? That would be cool. Crowded House says the Taken King added a new area, a huge raid, many new Crucible maps, a strike, campaign missions, a shit ton of loot, a restructure of the entire game. It's definitely not the Taken King. I don't think they're talking about the quality. I don't think they're talking about the quantity of stuff. I think they're talking about how Taken King came out and it completely changed the landscape of it brought people back. It brought people back and people started playing the game more because it was a substance, right? I don't think they're talking about a one-to-one comparison, Crowded, about how much content's in this game to compare to this game. I think they're talking about the No Man's Sky turnaround, the Taken King type of turnaround. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but that's the way it sounds like when they're comparing it. Right? This is their moment like a Taken King, not the, well, Taken King had this much and this is what this is. Eclipse says, have you seen the making of Elder Scrolls Shelter? I'm guessing that's the make Dirty Money also. Are they making Elder Scrolls Shelter? Yes, I am he. Yeah, I kind of think now that they're underneath the same umbrella, Vandal, like they take the IPs and kind of give them to other people, but I don't know if Bethesda itself wants to do that, because if they make a better game than them, I mean, as a whole, it benefits the company. But does it look like that Bethesda, you know what I mean? I don't know. We've had conversations of that. Should they give it to outer the people that made Avowed? I can't think of, my brain's shutting down. Fallout 70, New Vegas, Obsidian, right? Do you give it to Obsidian to go make the next Fallout game, right? Or do they hold on to that and does Bethesda give Obsidian the rights to go play to go make? They're underneath the same thing. They're all underneath Microsoft now. So Obsidian makes the next Fallout 5, and then Bethesda worries about Fallout Skyrim 6. You know what I mean? Or Elder Scrolls 6. Is the DLC, Robert Jones says, come on, Jones, is the DLC going to bring new people in? I don't know. I mean, it's definitely going to bring people back, because if they paid for the 3-day early access or 5-day early access at day one, they own the DLC. So the people that played Starfield, put it down, they might come back and look. But are new players going to play? Maybe. It all depends on how good it is. If word of mouth gets out that it's actually really good, then people that are on Game Pass will be like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Remember, Starfield brought the most subscriptions in ever in one time, right? I wonder if I wonder if the next Call of Duty is going to beat that. But Starfield brought in more people than ever before on Game Pass, because when it came out. Does it happen again? I don't know. Obsidian already made the better Fallout. It's still live. Yeah, New Vegas. And they did it just like great Bethesda fashion. Super buggy, super broke, right? They kept it on the same playing field as Bethesda. Okay? Love the game. New Vegas is one of my favorite Fallouts. Okay? If not my favorite Fallout. But it was broken and buggy as hell when it came out as well. Yeah, exactly, Akuta Papa. Right. Better after a couple of years after it released. Right? New Vegas on release was the worst Fallout games. Yeah, it was so buggy. So broke. Sarge says, I don't think they will make Fallout 5 before Elder Scrolls 6, because 76 is still running and also making money. I don't think they want to break up the momentum of 76. Yeah, 76 right now is, I think, is firing on all cylinders. I really do. It died down a bit because the shows are, and this is why I think the shows should have been weekly, because it would have lasted like 2 months, 3 months of hype instead of the super vast, right? And someone told me I was, I'm wrong. No one wants to watch shows week by week, even though some of the best shows out there are week by week. But who, what do I know? What do I know about that type of stuff, right? So I think they would have had more longevity of the hype instead of the flash mob of, Fallout show is out, let's go buy this game, let's go play this, let's do this. If they slowly brought it out over the next 3 months, we would still have hype going through. Do you have to beat the game to play the DLC Shattered Space? I don't believe so, but don't quote me on that, Roadkill. I don't believe you have to beat the game. I believe it's just a DLC. Now, I guess it wouldn't make sense, though, because, again, I don't know where the story connects. Like, if you didn't beat the game, you wouldn't know what the problems are with House Varun, right? So, playing House Varun's DLC, you'd be like, who the fuck are these people, if you never know who they were in the beginning, right? So, from a lore standpoint, you might be confused, but I don't think you need to play the base game to play the expansion. Aldante says, I'm trying to think of the last time a game came out that wasn't buggy or broken. Was Stellar Blade broke? Was Stellar Blade broke? Was Wukong, I know, had some issues. I said Wukong. I meant Wukong. Did Stellar Blade have problems? Did Elder Tree from Elden Ring's DLC, was that broke? There are games, I just can't think of them because I didn't buy them. I buy broken buggy games. I actually don't buy broken buggy games. I buy games just like everyone else. None. we rent our broken buggy games. Yeah, no. We know you aren't the best when it comes to names. Yeah, no. That part of my brain is completely blocked off. But I can describe them, and you guys can name them for me. Astrobot was perfect, no bugs, not broken. There you go, right? So I don't think Astrobot had any complaints about it, right? It's not selling very well, right? It's not selling very well. I know that, which is a shame because games that are not broken buggy should be sold well, right? Think about this, right? This is not shade on Astrobot, but if Astrobot doesn't sell well, right? If it doesn't sell well, it sells, but it doesn't sell astronomical, right? No pun intended. But if it doesn't sell well, and then a game that comes out that's broke, buggy, unfinished sells superior to that, then that sells a message to them going, well, we don't need to make a perfect game because it's just not going to sell. Right? Stellar was fine, right? I think Stellar Blade was okay, just had the whole pretty stigma. Yeah, but that's nothing against the game, right? The game worked fine. Jones says, Concord wasn't broken or buggy. Trash Defender. Well, I'll tell you what, Eclipse. If it comes out in a couple weeks or months that Astrobot didn't sell well, and then Concord didn't do very well, then PlayStation fans can't run that say that Xbox doesn't buy their games. Because that would be two games that came out from PlayStation that they're not buying. Do you know what I mean? Unpacking was good. I think we're talking about AAA games, though, Krebsy. I think we're talking about AAA games. There's a lot of lower tier games that come out and they're broken and not broken buggy because they can't be, right? They don't have that luxury. Oh, so I was asking this last night. If you're watching, we played some Fallout 76, the Mile Zero Post, or whatever it was. Or Mile Post Zero. Dyslexia, I guess. But last night I was asking, if you guys like these morning shows, right? Sometimes I do a podcast with Reforge on Lono on his channel. And I know he's changed a couple things where he does his news and stuff like that. And I was thinking about doing another show. I don't know if I want to do it on Fridays, but I was thinking about once a week or once a month or something, doing an entertainment thing. And we've done it before in the past. I wanted to ask more people that were in chat if you would be more interested if I did a show like this, but for entertainment stuff, right? So for movies, television shows, talk, pop culture stuff like that on this at night or on a Friday, like during this time frame on Friday. If you guys are interested in that, let me know. Give me a feedback in Discord. Help me up in chat. Let me know through Discord, whatever. Through the feedback, through Discord general, or in chat here. I know a lot of you guys watch because of gaming and whatnot, right? But I've always envisioned my channel in being more of a network, like old school television, right? Like Thursday nights you watch GXG, Wednesday nights you watch, Chatting With or Shooting the Shit with Sarge. Monday through Thursday, you watch this morning show, right? So I want to add some different things. Robert Jones says, I can't remember the last AAA not being broke or buggy. Well, Stellar Blade, I think, would that be considered AAA, wouldn't it? Marcus says, I'm always down for more shows. Eclipse says, I just think it's funny that PC gamers are the ones that don't buy games, but every time a game comes out, PC does a lot better than sales. Yeah, it's weird. People like to they like to conform to something and say certain things, but the sales numbers are factual, right? PC gamers don't buy games, but yet more people bought Palworld on PC than they did on console. People on PC don't buy games. People bought Helldivers 2 on PC more than they did on console. People don't buy games, but they buy, you know what I mean? It's like, you can just keep bringing it up. Will you have any guests on the show? I could. The problem with the guests, if I do a Friday morning show, a lot of people that I talk to I'm usually a loner when it comes to YouTube content creation and whatnot, but we've met a couple of people along the way. Always Lono, but he's busy during the days and whatnot. He has his whole schedule set. And Kingard, I would think Kingard's a good friend of ours now, where he's welcome on the show anytime, and he likes coming on the show. He's going to come join us for the Video Game Award show, me and Sarge. And then Greg Owen, who we interviewed last week, he says he wants to do more stuff and be on the show a couple times. So we're going to bring him back on the show. So there are people that I pick up along the way that we get along with and that want to come back on the show and whatnot. So yeah, we could have guests. I would love guests. The problem is I send out, and I shit you not, I send out about 5 to 10 emails a day to different content creators across the people that I watch, people that I enjoy. And most of them don't get back to me. It might get lost in their spam folder. They might look me up and go, oh, it's a small channel. Whatever it is, right? Maybe they don't ever see it, but it's very hard to get people to come on the show. So when people do come on the show, I'm like, oh, thank you so much for your time. All right. Because I'm not picking these people to piggyback off them to be like, oh, I'm going to use this guy to get more Obviously that viewership over there is not going to come watch me because I don't make that content. Right? You know what I mean? So it would be more of they're coming on because I truly want to know, as a content creator, for chatting with, when I talk to another YouTuber, I want to know about their journey, about how they made a YouTube channel, how they're balancing life, because that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to do that same thing. Krebsy says, you keep saying PlayStation fans didn't buy Concord, so you want bad games to be bought. Doesn't that kind of go against the whole make a game, sell a game? Need more details, though, behind the comment. You're talking to me, Krebsy? The PlayStation fans are the ones that say that Xbox fans don't buy games, right? And I said if Astrobot doesn't sell well and Concord didn't sell well, that would go against what they say, right? Meaning they don't buy the games. Now, I said if the companies look at this and say, well, these games aren't selling, okay, then we got to make more broken, buggy games because the games that we're making that are complete are not selling. That's more motivation for them to go, well, if we complete a game, it costs this much money. Why put a complete game out when we could put a half-ass game out and make more money than a game that's complete? That's what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying they're going out saying we need to go make broken, buggy games. What I'm saying is they're okay by keeping a game in the pipeline for 2-3 years instead of 5, okay, and putting it out there. El Dente says, I would love to see the time slot on Fridays. Jones says, I think Final Fantasy VII Remake was bug-free. I think I remember hearing it wasn't... I don't think it was bug-free. But again, I didn't play it myself. I don't remember a lot of stories behind it, Jones, so you might be correct. PlayStation not buying games is a console war talking point. Right, well, that's what I said. I said the fanboys not saying that Xbox doesn't buy their games, and yet two games came out for PlayStation. If they don't sell well, that talking point is kind of gone, isn't it? I'm not saying that people don't buy games. What I'm saying is these people say that people don't buy games. Right? Well, technically, all big games this year are Stellar Blade, Astrobot, Palworld, Helldivers 2, etc. all had budgets lower than 85 mil AAA budget. Well, I didn't bring up Palworld as a AAA game. I don't know the Astrobot number. Helldivers 2, I think, was close to it. And it's not 85 mil. I believe it's 70 mil, if I'm not mistaken. It still might be lower than that. Can't wait till I take over the 1 to 3 a.m. for 30 and Still Gaming. I should reach out to Sadat. He said he'll try to get back to you. All right, I'll give him an email. Jesse Max's podcast. Podcast, normal show. Like, I'm trying to think of another... so the Chatting with podcasts, I don't want to kind of do the same guest over and over. So, like, when a guest comes back, like Kinger, because we had episode 1 and 2 with Kinger. They're both chatting with, right? And then Greg Owen wants to come back. And I don't know if I want to put it on Chatting with or if I want to make a separate type of show that's not... It's not the interview process anymore. It's not interviewing Greg anymore about his journey. It's more of just shooting the shit with him type of thing. Here you go, Travis. Sales report is bad news for Astrobot. This is 6 days ago. Okay. Astrobot receiving critical acclaim for the gameplay of references iconic PlayStation franchise. Despite the positive reviews, Astrobot and PlayStation 5 are falling short of Japanese resale sales, with only under 12,700 and 9,097 copies sold. Potential factors for low sales include increased PlayStation 5 prices in Japan and lack of data. Now, obviously, that's just in Japan, but it's still sales. Okay? So it's not selling in certain areas, right? And you can't just hand wave that off as saying, well, it might be selling well here. Overall, they need everywhere, right? So, like, if a movie sells well domestically but doesn't sell well overseas, it's a failure. It'll fail. It needs to sell well overseas. It needs to sell well domestically to make profit, right? Talk space with 30. I was thinking about taking the other channel, El Dente. We're just nerding with 30 and making that another title. Instead of a separate channel, it's just another show, nerding with 30. Krebsy says, a person I think could be good for the show, given your background, is Scott Prop and Roll. Scott Reader. Send me a message in Discord, Krebsy, and I'll look him up. I appreciate that. All right, the next... Talked about Space Marine. Oh, the video. We got the video coming up. Travis says, is it wrong, 30, that just to give Game of the Year award to Mass Effect 2 every year? Because it feels... This year, for best game in the past, goes to Mass Effect 2 for the 15th year in a row. All right, so this next topic we're going to talk about is from the Wall Street Journal. I saw this video yesterday, and I didn't watch it, but I saw it pop up in my stream or in my feed, and it is Xbox lost the console war, but now it's redefining gaming. And I was like, okay, let's see what this is about. So let's watch this. If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We just have conversations. We look about articles. We watch videos. We talk about different things. If you like this, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do appreciate you for coming out. Make sure you check out some of our other videos. All right, so let's take a look at this. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Make sure it's at normal speed. All right, it's called Xbox Lost the Console War, and now it's redefining gaming.
This is the Xbox Series X, Microsoft's most powerful flagship console. For a long time, you needed an Xbox to play games like Halo or Gears of War. Then, Microsoft decided you don't. So it launched a monthly subscription service that lets users play the latest games on a bunch of other devices. But it's increasingly competitive and will take a lot of investment to make it work. So, will this shift pay off? And what does it mean for the future of the console?
I do think the shift will pay off. And this is why,
This is the economics
hold on one second.
of X.
Okay, so I do think the shift will pay off, and I've said this years ago. I said it. They said they lost the war after I said they've moved on, right? I think they said it about 4 years ago, and about 5 years ago I said they've changed their plan just after Game Pass came out. I said they're looking to go that cloud route. They're looking for that Netflix route. I've compared Game Pass numbers the first 6 years to Netflix's numbers, and they're exactly the same as far as growth goes. And I think that obviously it's easier for them to cut their losses with the number as far as the consoles comparing to their competitors, right? And they said, you know what, the future's here. Otherwise, if there was no internet like there wasn't in the past, it would go away. Xbox would go away as like the Sega Dreamcast, okay? Because it's just so competitive in the console market, and it's oversaturated, okay? Or I should say, yeah, it's oversaturated because there's not enough people buying the games, and they're competing for the same 250 million people, and they need to expand. So Xbox in the short term said, let's struggle now. Let's throw a bunch of money in, just like you would if you started a business up, right? If you started a business up and you want an investment return, it would take about 3 to 5 years to get your investment back if you start up a business, right? Obviously, you want it to happen quicker, but usually about 5 years in the making before you would make profit, where you can start paying yourself as a business owner, okay? Now, Xbox is like, let's cut our losses here. We know that they have the console war. Let's start investing in the cloud gaming. Let's start investing in the subscription model, and let's be the first one there. That way, just like I've said in the past, you could start a web browser, okay, or Google, like a search engine, but you're always going to be behind Google. It's going to be really hard for you to compete with Google. Now, you could be in that industry and you could compete with Google, but you're never going to take Google out unless Google fucks up real bad and then they get bought out by someone else, right? So that search engine is there, it's in the market, but you're never going to beat them, right? Same with the phone company, same with the cable company, same with all this other stuff. You could be in the industry, but you're never going to take the number one spot from them because they're so big, and there's such an increment difference between first and second, and then second and third and stuff like that. So Xbox decided, like we talked about 2 weeks ago, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox were all on the same island, and now they've all went on their own separate islands. Xbox is like on this island, and they're making the bet. They're taking the bet, short term, high investment, high risk, that everybody else will join them on that island in somewhat shape or form in the cloud space subscription model. And if they're the first ones there, like Netflix is the only streaming service that makes money right now. All the rest, Disney, Paramount, Warner Brothers, all of them, all struggling to make money. Netflix is the most profitable one. That's what Xbox is trying to do in this space.
Xbox. Today, with more than 30 game studios, Xbox is an industry mainstay.
But it had to really earn that position in the market.
The console war began in the 1970s, when video game companies started competing to create a more powerful console and win more customers. By the 90s, the biggest players were Sony, Nintendo, and Sega.
Right. Now it's Sony, Nintendo, and Xbox, because Sega Dreamcast was the third one out.
And in 1997, consumer spending on consoles surpassed arcades for the first time. A few years later, Microsoft entered the scene with its first-generation Xbox. To entice customers into their ecosystems, most of these companies tried to keep the prices on their consoles as low as possible, selling them at a loss. Xbox.
Right, because you wanted the loss. Look, they lost $200. Why do you think they push the Series S and not the Series X? Now, they put the Series X there because they know that the keeping up with the Joneses people will buy the higher end because we thought it was going to be a better system, right? And every company does this, right? Not only that, but they also want to lose money so that you can get more money in the long run, which is the actual video games. The video games, the software itself is what brings in the money, the controllers, the peripherals, the internet subscriptions, all of this. This is why Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo, they charge for that internet, the subscription model type of thing, because they're losing their money on the consoles. Where PC, okay, and the gamers on PC, they're not losing money because they didn't make the PC, okay? They're making the hardware and the software. They're losing the money, right? This is the loss leader to get into your household, to get into your ecosystem. Once they have you in your ecosystem, okay, then they can start nickel and diming you. And now they've double dipped, triple dipped. Not only are they getting you for the $70 video game, but now they're upping it to 100, 130, but they're also doing the microtransactions. They're also doing the streaming services. They're also doing the season passes and the battle passes and all this other stuff. So they're doing all of this other stuff to make up for the loss. Now, PlayStation has set the bar because now I don't think they're losing that much money. I think they might be making a profit off the PlayStation 5 Pro. Obviously, it's the 4 years into the life cycle. But now they're making money right off the front, and they're making money off the back end as well.
Loses up to $200 per console. But the brands made up the difference by selling games and other accessories.
The more consoles you sell, the more software you're going to sell with it.
Right. The more you sell, and this is why Nintendo's a beast. Because every time every time they make a video game, they sell 20 million, 25 million, 30 million, 40 million, 60 million for their first-party titles. And this is why Nintendo is so dominant with the software side of their systems. And they're the most not the most powerful, but they're the most most sales right now in this generation. Even though you can say, is the Switch this part of this generation, even though it had a 4-year head start or 3-year head start? I mean, it's 122 million copies and going, or 130 million copies and going.
PlayStation outsold the Xbox every single time.
So there you go. Global lifetime hardware sales, right? PlayStation 2, 155 to 24.7. PlayStation 3, 87 to 84. PlayStation 4, 117 million to 57.9 million, and 61 to 28. Now, obviously, if you look at this, in 2020, 19 years after, okay, yes, Xbox Series S and X is not selling more than PlayStation, but at the same time, they've sold 4 million more copies than they did when it first originally came out, okay? But there's still a saturation point. Look at PlayStation going down every single time, and look at Xbox. They're also going down every single time. And this is exactly the facts that we know, that less people are buying consoles. More people are playing mobile phone games. More people are going to PC games. So everyone that wants to argue with me and say that, no, they're not selling less consoles, they are. They're selling. There's only 250 million, maybe 300 million people that are buying consoles between Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. And that overlaps, okay? And that's a saturation point. This is why Xbox is trying to go the cloud route. This is why they're trying to go where the peripherals are not theirs. They just want the software. They just want the subscription model.
Microsoft only came close to beating Sony with the Xbox 360. Analysts say this was because the PlayStation 3, which ran customers up to $600, was priced too high. But the Xbox lost ground with the next generation, and ultimately, it lost the console war. In 2017, Xbox launched Game Pass, positioning itself as a services brand.
It's more interested in making content available to people on whatever device they choose to play on.
Game Pass is a tiered service. The least expensive plans offer gaming on either console or PC, and the most expensive plan has multi-device gaming and other features like streaming games from the cloud and access to certain games the day they're released. In essence, Microsoft is betting that it can get more customers if they don't have to buy a console.
Right. And you also don't lose money because you're not putting all that research and development into a new system and losing money off each console that's sold, right? Now, sure, you're losing money off the consoles still, but at the same time, you're making more money because you're making a residual every time. Not a residual. You're making a sale every month at $10 at exponentially more than the 250 million potential, which they're not getting. They're only getting 25 million. So let me go back for a second, right? Let me go back to this form here. Okay.
Sold the Xbox.
They have, think about this now. Okay, obviously there's 57 million people who are still on Xbox One, and there's 28 million people, right? These people haven't moved over to this system yet. But yet there's over 35 million or 34 million people that are using Game Pass, that are paying $20 a month or $10 a month based on the plan that you have. Okay. There's more people, right? There's more people paying for the higher tier Ultimate than there are the lower tier sections. So they're making more money. They're making more money with less consoles out in the market, okay? Because they're paying the $20 a month, or PC, they're getting $12 a month just from PC.
Or PC cloud, and can get more customers if they don't have to buy a console. This model also gives the company a recurring revenue stream, so it
Rachel says that make cloud good because it's the worst quality of the market. But that's today. Like, look at exponentially how fast AI photos were from what they started at and what they are. Look how fast AI videos was to what it is today. Within less than a year, it exponentially got faster. We've talked about this with Tesla. Tesla's not a car company. They're an AI company, right? And if they have one Tesla riding around a road, okay, to map out a city, it's going to take a really long time. But if they can sell a bunch of Teslas and people buy them and they get into that ecosystem, then not knowing they're driving around and they're mapping out the entire fucking state in a minuscule of time. So when you have one person testing out the cloud system, it's not going to get better. But if you have thousands and millions of people playing on cloud and changing it, they learn the data and they make it better and better. The infrastructure is slowly slowly coming up, but it exponentially will get faster and faster as it goes. Like, if you can't see this, and I'm not saying you personally, if you can't see what technology has come across any platform that we've ever been in, if it's cars, if it's computers, if it's phones, like, we went from the rotary phone to the dial phone in a span of like 20, 30 years. But then we went from the dial phone with the cord on it to a cell phone to a smartphone within 7 years, 10 years, right? So it's a huge difference in stuff, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on. I appreciate that. He says, thank you for the $2 super chat. It says, but why Luna, NVIDIA, Boostroid have great cloud? It's all in the market. They're all trying. Because it's the less doesn't mean just because it's the worst doesn't mean it's not going to work, right? Remember, these guys are on PC, okay? And these guys are trying to get it in the console market into this, right? And most of them are using the Azure cloud service, okay? They're all using Microsoft. They're all paying Microsoft in some way, shape, or form. I think Microsoft is like 87% of the market as far as software goes.
It doesn't have to rely as much on blockbuster successes.
So Game Pass solves the problem on the consumer side by making lots of content available for cheap, and on the business or the supply side in terms of offsetting.
Krebsy, why do you think I don't understand when people say things? Right? I understand what you're saying. The worst quality of all of the cloud services out there. I understand what he's saying. I understand. I'm not retarded.
The financial volatility associated with entertainment.
Microsoft's head of gaming, Phil Spencer, has said Game Pass is profitable.
And I think it will stay in that 10 to 15% of our overall revenue.
But Microsoft isn't the only one stepping into the subscription world. In 2022, Sony merged its subscription services, PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, and relaunched it to compete with Game Pass. There are two key things that give Microsoft an edge.
Let me rewind this for a second.
2022, Sony merged its subscription services, PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, and relaunched it to compete with Game Pass.
Why would they do that? Why would PlayStation do that? Do they think that cloud's not going to be good? Of course they think it's going to be good. They have to adapt. They have to move. This is why they're going to the industry.
There are two key things that give Microsoft an edge. First, it's a much larger company with lots and lots of money. And for the past decade, Microsoft has been using that money to acquire games.
You got to remember, everyone that's a fanboy of one side or the other, the industry is together. The industry tells you what's happening in the industry. Okay? You don't tell them what's happening in the industry. They tell you what's happening in the industry. If they want to go digital, they go digital. The people that say they want to buy physical and that's it, you have the choice if they give you that choice. If they decide to take that physical away from you, then you are buying digital. And then they tell you that digital is selling better than physical. Okay? If they tell you cloud is the future, then that's what it is. You have nothing. You either buy it or don't. That's it.
Game studios, beefing up its library. In 2014, it bought Mojang, the maker of Minecraft, for $2.5 billion. In 2021, it bought ZeniMax Media.
Now let's back up here again.
Beefing up its library. In 2014, it bought Mojang, the maker of Minecraft, for $2.5 billion. In 2021, it bought ZeniMax Media, owner of Fallout and Doom, for $8.1
Look at that. 2.5, 8.1, and then what, 70?
In 2023, it finalized the purchase of Activision Blizzard, the maker of Call of Duty and Candy Crush, for $75.
Was it 75? I thought it was 69. Giggity, giggity.
$0.4 billion.
To put it in perspective, that is a little bit less than what Sony makes annually.
A little bit less than what Sony makes annually is what they spent on buying companies.
$1 billion.
To put it in perspective, that is a little bit less than what Sony makes annually.
Second, as a
They're not even in the same stratosphere. as two companies, not the divisions of Xbox and PlayStation, right? Sony to Microsoft, they're not even in the same playing field.
A giant tech company, Microsoft owns lots and lots of data centers, over 300 worldwide, some of which help support Game Pass and cloud gaming.
The incumbents like Nintendo and Sony, they live and die on great content and this magnificent retail distribution infrastructure that they've built. So it's in Microsoft's interest to push into its data centers and its infrastructure in the cloud, because it can't beat Sony and Nintendo.
Hey, imagine that. Look, I am kind of smart and I'm not retarded.
At retail.
This puts it in an arena that mainly other massive tech companies like Amazon, Nvidia, and Google can really compete in. But there are
This is why Phil Spencer said they're not competing with PlayStation and Nintendo. They're worried about Google, okay, and Amazon in the future.
lots of obstacles. To start, adoption has been slow. In 2020, it targeted 71% subscriber growth and reached 86%. But the following year, it fell short. And in 2022, it missed its target by a long shot.
Some people are just not comfortable with the idea of not actually owning a game.
That's right, until they're told that they can't own a game, and then they're forced down it.
They may want to play a game, put it down for 6 months and pick it up later, or a year later, or more.
Rebsy, I don't understand. Is your speaker system broke? I understand that he's saying it's the worst quality of all the cloud things, okay? I understand that's what he said. I understand that. 1,000% understood that.
More. And that may not be in the subscription service anymore after that time.
So as of 2024, Game Pass has amassed 34 million subscribers. Some of the biggest challenges are specific to cloud gaming, a feature included in Game Pass's top tier. Traditionally, game data was stored locally on cartridges, discs, or downloaded straight to the console. With online multiplayer games, data like each player's actions were streamed. But with cloud gaming, the entire game is streamed to your device, which can be laggy.
If it's a competitive game, a millisecond can mean the difference between winning and losing.
Cloud gaming is also expensive to operate.
The economics have changed.
Yeah, Stadia was amazing. We played Destiny on Stadia when it came out on PC. It was immaculate, okay? But their business model was absolute shit, Argus. Was absolute garbage when it came to their, like, you had to buy the games over again. It's like, why would I buy the game over again just so I could stream it over cloud?
Changed, but they haven't immediately changed to, only run a profit. Both of those offerings, whether those are product-based and conventional or whether they are streaming and more digital, both of those run at a loss in principle. But
and how much is the Nvidia streaming service? How much is the Nvidia streaming service? To play for GeForce, I know it's free for like 2 hours a month or something like that, but what's the price point that it goes up to compared to what Game Pass is?
to recuperate and to earn money in those contexts is a very different proposition.
One report found that just 6% of gamers around the world were subscribed to a cloud gaming service in 2023. Still, experts believe it will grow substantially.
Cloud gaming is one of those few components where they could possibly thrive and lead, even if that's a much more modestly sized industry.
Microsoft isn't getting rid of the Xbox anytime soon. Later this year, it will release new versions of its
Ooh, the sparkly Xbox with more storage.
current generation, the Series X and S. But it's clear that Xbox views its content as the future of the company, not its.
Like, seriously, did they just add 360 and Xbox One games next to the Xbox Series X? Because they didn't buy enough of the Xbox games. There's not one Xbox game there is for that system, because they probably just bought the system and all their games are digital. Just put that in perspective for a second. They don't have one box over there that's for Xbox Series X or S.
Its hardware.
It is incredibly difficult for these large companies, in spite of their resources, to be agile and innovative. And so, they're always watching someone else just run the show. And so in many ways, you could make the argument that the current effort and investment towards Game Pass and xCloud and all of the things that they're building and acquiring goes towards perhaps finally being in the driver's seat for the first time.
Right, and that's why they abandoned ship for what they're doing, and this is why they moved over, so they could be the first one in the landscape.
It the chance to win whatever the new gaming war will be.
We'll look it up. We'll look it up in a second, right? And this is why they're trying to get there first, right? This is why they put themselves in that position first. Let's see, GeForce Now. Let's see. It's the same price. It's the same price for GeForce Now. Ultimate is $20 a month. Okay, $20 a month. If you pay $6 a month, it's $100 a year. $100 for 6 months, so it's $200 a year. Okay, if you get priority, which is premium rig RTX on, okay, you get 1080p resolution up to 60 frames per second, no ads. Okay, that's $49 for 6 months. Okay, so that's $100 a year for the priority. For ultimate, okay, you're paying $20 a month, which is the same exact thing. Now, you get day pass for $4 each, or ultimate day $8 each. Right? I don't see anyone complaining about that. That's an 8-hour long session that you can try it out. Okay? They're not worried because look, Nvidia is just trying to get their foot in the market. They're not going to be the market leaders for that because they're the market leader for graphic cards, right? They're competing in graphic cards. That's what they do. But at the same time, they're also going towards, well, let's do this for the cloud because they want their foot they want their foot in the market because they know that the future is in cloud gaming. Yeah, it's free, but the free aspect of it, is very limited. It's $0. You get 1 hour session length. 1 hour session length. What person's going to pay 1 hour of gaming? Right? That's the sample. You're like, it's so good. I want to play more of it. Warbear says, new gaming war. It's going to come down to what ISP can handle it. Right. Well, we've talked about that, Water. We've talked about that. The new thing will be whose streaming service is better. Yeah, $8 to try it. Sign me up. There you go. That's all it takes. How much is Luna? How much is Luna? Do you get it? Do you get it with like Amazon Prime? Obviously, some games are free because they're free to play. Ooh, there's Luna Plus. Luna Plus gives access to the library of games across genres. Play 100 plus games and devices that you already own for $10 a month, right? And that's the difference, though. Games that you already own. Where Xbox, you don't have to own, right? You're just renting the system, and that's how they're leading the market because they have that luxury because they're the game manufacturer and they're also the publisher and they're also the console maker. Where these other people don't have. Right, and they got it. You have to own the game, so you got to go pay $60-$70 for the video game, and then you got to pay $10 a month to play it on the service. Kudabapa says, Argus, on PC, hands down, it was GeForce. When I was testing these, Stadia wasn't doing 4K, and GeForce had 4K, RTX, and so on, without the lag. Yeah, and with all of these services that are cloud, every single time more people play, they put more money towards the infrastructure of what they want because they know all the numbers. And again, this is not an Xbox thing. This is not a Sony thing. This is not a Nintendo thing. The industry as a whole says, this is the future. Let's invest in the future. Okay? They don't want to share their money with a GameStop. They don't want to share their money with Target and Walmart. They don't want to share their money. They want to keep your ecosystem within the system itself. Okay? So they're going to make it where digital games on a cloud service with a subscription model, that's what Nintendo wants. That's what PlayStation wants or Sony wants. That's what Microsoft wants. Okay? That's why Nvidia's in on it. That's why Amazon's in on it. This is why they're doing all the stuff that they're doing, because the industry tells us what's going to happen. And you have a choice. You either don't buy it and move on, and then there's the tissue. Pull the tissue out. There's another tissue there. You don't want to buy it. They remove you, and there's another person waiting there going, yeah, I'll try cloud. And that's the way it works. The worst cloud service is trying to make us pay $20 to rent PC to play Genshin Impact. I signed a 10-year deal with Microsoft Cloud, and they gave it to everyone in the UK to get CMA to back down. Right? There you go, Hilly. Right? Because they know what the future is. And anyone trying to fight it is just silly. It's just silly. Obviously, right now, today, we can go, cloud is not good. But where was cloud 4 years ago? Like, non-existent. Okay? Non-existent. There was things out there that played it. Okay? But no one talked about it. It was just there. I remember when you had to pay $34, okay, $34 to access another computer so you can play your games. And now that price is down to $20. Okay? The tech is better. It's much better today than it was in 2020, which is better than 2017. Here we are, 8 years later, from 2017 when they announced Game Pass to today, and cloud gaming is 1,000 times better than it was 8 years ago. So you're telling me tech exponentially is not going to get better over the next 6, 7, 8, 10 years. They're literally working on a chip that can download the entire internet in like a millisecond. And you're telling me that cloud service and cloud gaming is not going to work, right? If they could get a chip inside the device and then cloud gaming streaming, they could literally download the entire game onto your local hard drive or local network. Okay, that way it runs smoother because of the cloud. If it's a multiplayer game, obviously you're gonna have to be on the servers, and everyone will then have the same amount of lag. Everyone will have the same, well, not the same amount because it's different in different regions and different things, right? It's great for single player games and whatnot. Not good right now for multiplayer. I literally just tried xCloud half hour ago after not playing it since around launch. Is it the best? No. But they've improved immensely. Yeah. I literally played, first of all, just 5 years ago, I couldn't play on the airplane through Wi-Fi on my mobile phone, right? Now I'm playing my Xbox games, okay, on my phone with a backbone in an airplane or up in a mountain with Wi-Fi signal. And single-player games, sometimes it works amazing, and other times it's a little bit glitchy, okay? But the fact that I can do that now, which I wasn't even possible before, I can play on my Meta Quest 2 headset, streaming it. No console. Just put that on my face, log in, and I can play games. It's amazing. And everyone else is just like, yeah, it's never going to happen. Are you guys still running around with horse and buggy? Like, I don't understand. You guys still taking the train places? Like, exponentially faster. Exponentially faster. Sure, cloud is amazing now. It's just Xbox is far, far behind. Okay. They have 34 million people that are on their streaming, on their subscription service. That's going to go up. Because you're going to be forced to do it. Hilly says, they don't care what you or I think about cloud. They care our kids think. Yeah. My son literally comes in every day, and he wants to play on his iPad through the cloud. He wants to play other things because that's what his friends are doing. That's what he's doing, right? It doesn't matter what we fucking think. They are being conditioned today. So when they get older, they're playing games through the way that they're told to play games. Yeah, Eclipse. When I was in South Dakota, we were in a cabin. Okay? I sat next to the window, okay, because that was the best reception. And I was playing The First Descendant through my phone. It was amazing. No lag. No nothing. I was activating through my device from here in South Dakota. It was awesome. Right? Now, can I say that it's going to be perfect for everybody? No. It all depends on what your internet is, or where you're staying, or what you're doing. 100%. But the fact that I could play an MMO, the fact that I could play a video game on my phone, airplane going 700 miles an hour, like, it's insane. It's insane. I have it, Dolphin. I already have it pulled up. I'm way ahead of you. I'm way ahead of you. Way ahead of you. I got 2 Switch things popped up here with pictures and stuff about 2 hours ago. I appreciate it. They need to update the MetaQuest Game Pass app. I want to turn it off. I want to turn off the light. Oh, like in the theater mode type of thing. See, the fact that you just said it's terrible, but at the same time, obviously you're playing it in multiple places. You're proving my point. You're proving my point, Ray. You're like, it's not that good, but you still play it. You're still using it. Kid's first console is parents' old tablet or phone. Yeah, that's exactly right. But no one's playing video games on the phone. No, none of us are playing because we don't want to play games like this close to our face. Like, oh, this is a 55-inch television set. No, it's a small phone. I don't want to play on small phone, but when I'm in an area where I can't have that option, sure, I'm going to play on it. I hate playing games on the phone. I refuse to play mobile games, right? When we played Marvel Future Revolution, we played it on PC, right? When we played Diablo Immortal, we played it on the PC with an emulator. World says, let's put it this way. I can't even download Resident Evil 7 from my iOS because my iPad isn't the newest generation. Won't let me. But I can boot up Resident Evil Village and play no problem. Sure. But the technology, put it this way. The technology is moving so fast that an iPhone that's 2 years old can't do that, but a brand new one can. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, mobile phones can now play games directly on the phone where they couldn't do that before. Another thing is when you play through the cloud, your phone doesn't heat up because it's not local. So it's not doing the processing power on the phone. It's streaming it from the cloud. Robert Jones says, I don't mind playing games on the phone, but I don't do it for self-control reasons. Oh, you don't do it because you don't want to... Like, we're going backwards, Jones. It's like we're playing on the Game Boy, original Game Boy again. You know what I mean? With the small little screen. We're, like, hunched over. We're like... Right? We're like adults. We, like, want to play on the big screen television that we paid for. Eclipse says, yeah, I was watching Ginger Prime this weekend, and he was talking about how he uses cloud all the time because he never has to update, and it just plays instantly, whatever. Yeah, it's got its benefits, and it has its downsides, just like anything else. Right, Worlds? Okay, so you're playing Hades on your iPad because I can play it through Netflix. Like, what the fuck? Think about this, right? In the past, I remember there was a game called Order and Chaos, which was a World of Warcraft clone for the iPad. We're talking like a decade ago, okay? I think it was called Order and Chaos. I believe that's what it's called, okay? It was a World of Warcraft, like straight up copy of World of Warcraft, but it was called Order and Chaos on the mobile phone, okay? I would play that on my iPad. I would play it on my phone, okay? Because I wanted to play an MMO on the go, okay? And I played that on the phone. This was years ago, okay? An MMO. Now I can literally play an actual MMO, okay? Okay, I can actually play a real MMO streaming through the actual iPad or streaming through my phone or going through my headset of my Meta Quest 2. Like, it's mind-boggling. Everyone's like, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's right. Like, hey, it's crazy. Yeah, it was great for a WoW ripoff, right? Then when Albion Online came out and they came on to Kickstarter, I was like, wait a minute, I can play it. This is why I funded this game, okay? Albion Online came out and said they're going to have it where you could play it on your iPad. And I was like, wait a minute, I could play a game, an MMO, like this on my iPad? Sign me up. And that's exactly what I did, okay? And now Albion Online is a fantastic game, right? Sure, they monetize it and whatever else, but you can play that on your mobile device. Ninja Turtles, Dead Cells, Hades, name a few. We got Ninja Turtles. We bought it for the Nintendo Switch. Are you talking about the Splinter's Revenge? Or no, Splinter something? I forget what it's called. Argus says, old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3 have native apps on the phone for a while now. And those are MMOs. Right. So how can someone tell me that cloud gaming is not the future? Call me crazy, but I want to play on a big screen. Sure. But the fact that I can play those games, any game that I can have on my Xbox, I can play on my iPad, my Meta Quest 3, or my phone anywhere in the world, as long as I have internet. You're not getting bigger than the Meta Quest 3. I can have literally a movie theater sized screen in front of me, play the game. Splinter's Fate, that's it. Yeah. You know what? I could turn my fan on. Absolutely, right? It's not, look, it's like a tool bag, right? I don't use a screwdriver for everything. Unless you got serious problems, you're just using one tool for everything, right? I use specific tools for specific jobs, right? So if I want to play I can't bring my television set with me and my console with me when I travel. So you play on the devices that you're saying, right? So if you're a person that travels a lot, you can just pop it in and start playing games. It's amazing, right? When I go visit my in-laws, I don't have to carry. I used to pack a bag. Take my Xbox, take my kids' Xbox, all this stuff. You know what we bring now? I bring this and my iPad. Okay? Or I bring my backbone and my phone. My son doesn't bring his system anymore. He brings a controller, and we use the Samsung TV when we get to grandma's house. That's it. It's a finite tool that you need for that moment. You're like, oh, we're gone for 3 days. There's no reason to pack all the stuff, right? We're packing light. Let's just bring a controller. Let's just bring the backbone. Let's go. I have Meta Quest 2, but I'm sure it's obviously better on the Meta Quest 3. Right. Think about this. When people don't look at this way, I'll turn. But Apple making the next iPhone, or the last iPhone, I guess it's been a year now because they're coming out with the iPhone 16, not the 15, right? It's already been 1 year since you could play like big games, actual games on their phone, right? Now, people are not buying the phone to play games, but now the 16's out, okay? And people that have a 14 or a 13 are going to upgrade, okay? Which is millions and millions of people. They're going to trade in their 13 or 14 for the 15 or 16. And when they do, all of a sudden, those people now have the opportunity, not that they bought it for it, but it can play video games. Like, natively play video games, okay? And now, all those people, now Apple has a console, a handheld device that can play these games right in front of you, right? They didn't buy the phone to play games, but they can play games now on the phone. It's able to play games. So slowly but surely, people are like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to play a game. Is the Meta Quest 3 Wi-Fi 6? I didn't know that. Or are you asking? Papa says, I'm hoping that Nintendo is bringing more of the GameCube library to the cloud and all. I love to play Wind Waker to Rogue Squadron. Right now, emulate both on PC in 4K. Have you seen the X screen for the Series S? It turns the S into a laptop. Yeah. We've shown that on GXG. The little attachment that they built on it. Chris says, I could do the same thing with the Portal and my PlayStation 5. What makes cloud gaming better? Why is it giving a controller to a corporation better versus you being in charge of the hardware switch is also a better choice? What do you mean? I already have the phone because I have a phone because I need a phone, right? Why would I pay more money to play the same thing I can do on my phone? Like, you know, Chris, that you could have played your PlayStation 5 games on your mobile phone already, right? But you paid $200 towards a PlayStation so you could do the exact same thing. Now, obviously, if you like the controller and you like the screen better, then by all means play what you want to play, right? See, I'm not shilling for one company or the next. I'm telling about the technology of where it is. Right? Sure, you paid $1,000 for your phone, but you're paying monthly payments for that over the course of the thing, and it does more than just play video games, right? Your PlayStation Portal only plays video games. So obviously, that's why you pay $200 for it. You also pay $200 for an item that didn't do what it's supposed to do at the beginning, and now it's slowly doing what it has to do. Ron Slusher says, cloud gaming eliminates storage issues. Authentic says, I still got 12 when I went to trade in for it to get a new one and said it paid off. My bill is $50. So now I'm upgrading till they send me the update. It kills my phone. That kills my phone. I would prefer Nintendo allow us to buy GameCube games. Well, I'm sure they're trying to figure that out, right, Jones? Argus says, the phone people already have and walk out the door with. A new phone spending $30, you have to spend $700 before taxes for the Portal to use it. Right. And that's another thing. To play the Portal, you have to buy the $500 PlayStation first, and then the $200 Portal, so $700. I can't make phone calls on my PlayStation, right? I can't make calls on my PlayStation. I guess I could use Discord. My phone is a camera, a video camera, surfs the web, makes phone calls, plays video games, the book reader, right? There's a million things I can do with my phone. What can I do with my Portal? I can play games for my PlayStation that I already own, right? I don't own any of the games, right? On Game Pass, I pay $20 and I can play all those games I don't own. Okay. I can play GeForce Now through my phone as well. Okay. If I own the games, I can play it through GeForce Now through the cloud as well. But with the Portal, I can use it as a paperweight. I can use it for the thing that I paid for already, right? But I also have to pay a $500 entry fee to get the $200 device so I can play the games that I already own. Well, that's why I buy a fridge, Argus. I buy a smart fridge so I can play Skyrim on it. That's why I buy it. Right. They put the old games that you want, Jones, on that subscription model, so you have to pay for it. Yeah. They're like, oh, people really like these games. Let's put that on the service. And then they removed games off of that as well. Yeah, good use of the fridge. I mean, that's what you do, right? Like, hey, we have to get this. We got to get this Samsung fridge, the smart fridge. It can tell you when the groceries are empty, and also I can play Skyrim on it. And I don't have a smart fridge. We have a super dumb fridge. It's just a standard fridge. Got a top ice box and a regular fridge at the bottom. That's right, Water. They both have multiple uses. I'd rather play mobile games for the phone than stream console games to it. Mobile games taste is different from console. Access to console games is an extra for console users, not mobile users. Let me read that again. I'd rather play mobile games for a phone than stream console games to it. Mobile games taste is different from console. Sure. Yeah. The different... a mobile game made for mobile games feels like mobile games. This is why when certain games come out, we look at it and say, it looks like a mobile game, right? But Genshin Impact is a full-fledged game, and you can play Genshin Impact on the phone, mobile device, mobile version of it, or you can play the console version of it, and it's brilliant. Access to console games is an extra for console users, not mobile users. Mobile users, again, because the mobile phones are now putting where you can play local games on there, not that they're buying the phone to use for games, but now those phones can do games. Very few people are buying the next phone so they can play the next latest, greatest game on there. But everybody that upgrades their phone is because they're upgrading the phone because they want the new features on the phone. And one of the features is it plays real games. So Argus says, the Steam Deck is fantastic. Do not put the Portal in the same category. They're completely different in value and use. Well, yeah. You buy a Steam Deck, you don't need to buy another system. You can just buy that system. Papa says, 30, I want a Tesla so I can have another place to buy Skyrim. Yeah, you can play all games on inside your Tesla. It is kind of trippy. Someone showed me, I actually saw it in real life, that you can play car racing sim games inside the Tesla and use the steering wheel to drive. And that, to me, is just mind-boggling. Like Dragon Age Veilguard. It's a mobile game disguised as a console game. It looks like a mobile game, right? It does look like a mobile game. They fortified it. They Fortnite-ified it. Ron Slusher says Tesla can't run Concord. No, nothing can run I mean, Mutamar, I can't pronounce his name. Mutahar. He showed a video the other day that you can run Doom on a pregnancy test. So, guys, not only when you have that situation happen to you, make sure you get the one where you can play Doom on it. You bring him to the counter. Hey, does this pregnancy test? Yeah. Can it run Doom? Can it run Doom on there? I don't think it's mandatory. You have to pee on the stick before you play Doom. You could just pull it out and play it. I don't know if you have to pee on it first, Worlds. But each their own, man. You do you. What's next? A tombstone that runs Dead by Daylight? Little LED screen, like LCD screen on there? I can see it happening. Maybe your dad used to love playing video games, so then when you go visit him at the cemetery, you have it hooked up. Solar powered, going into the screen, waterproof, bring a controller, boom. There you go. Play games with your dad. Or mom, whatever. Still playing with your dad. That'd be good memories. RGB tomb. Yeah, you plug it in. Your dad likes an old school, like a CRT inside in the tombstone. All right, let's talk about the next thing, which is Nintendo Switch 2 prototype design seemingly leak. Okay, if you guys like what we do here, we just bring up conversations, bring up articles, give you my thoughts and opinions on the articles or the videos or a piece of entertainment. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay. So, Nintendo Switch 2 prototype design seemingly leaked. It says a prototype design of the Nintendo Switch 2 have seamlessly leaked online, first appearing in a Chinese social media before making their way to Reddit. The images have given a look at what could be the upcoming Nintendo Switch successor. Based on the leaked designs, Nintendo Switch 2 will have a larger screen, new magnificent Joy-Cons, and multiple USB-C ports. In general, look like it remains similar to the original Switch. It also carries over from the back stand, a design from the Switch OLED model, compared to the small kickstand look at the base Switch. With the aforementioned Joy-Cons, the image shows that the way they attach it is different than the original. It also seems to... Well, of course it does. Do you know why? Do you know why? Because obviously they're keeping the games probably the same, right? But they don't want you to use their old Joy-Cons with your new Switch, so they have to make them attach differently, so you have to go buy new Joy-Cons. Okay? So, Rumors Edition buttons on the back of each controller. It says, what about the Nintendo Switch 2 specs? In addition to the general design, some specs of Nintendo Switch 2 have also reportedly been leaked. The Switch 2 will feature a 12 gigabyte of RAM, HDMI 2.1 support, and even a 256 gigabyte of internal storage. The system supporting HDMI 2.1 seems to back up earlier claims that the console will support 4K resolution in some capacity. Okay, it's important to note that the Insider Gaming has not been able to independently verify the legitimacy of the Nintendo Switch 2 design images. Until we can, something is made official, the leaked images or reported spec should be still taken with a grain of salt. So, before I show you these, chat, just know that these are not the official things. This is grain of salt, speculation, could be made up in any way, shape, or form. We're just talking about this in the form that it is that they're reporting on. Okay? So Nintendo has yet to respond to requests for comment in the design leak. Unlikely they will, however, and they expect to reveal the console sometime later this year at 2025 launch. If you want to see the images leaked design, you can below. Okay? So it says prototype design of the Nintendo Switch have also shared online. It seems to confirm a number of previous design rumors. Okay, so there you go. You can see that they have a big screen and a small screen. So I wonder, okay, it says as shared online, it seems to confirm number of previous design rumors. Now, obviously, this is one of three. I don't know if they're comparing one to the other or if it's two different designs completely, like the bigger version and the smaller version. Are they going to make a $300 version and $400 version type of thing for the screen? Who knows, right? Also, it says more of alleged design of the Switch 2. Here's the different pictures of this. You got the Joy-Con. Looks similar to the other one. Okay. Looks similar. They have the back button here now instead of just the top button of the bumper. Okay. It has different controller ports, the way it connects into. That's the back of it. It says the latch of the alleged Switch 2 design as well. Okay. So there's a little bit different. A little bit different of the design. What is this part right here? What is this part? Okay. So what do you think about the Switch 2 design leak? Let us know in the comments section and discussion down below. So I think it's pretty cool if it is doing what they're saying here as far as the tech specs, right? With the 12 gigs of RAM, HDMI 2.1, and also with the will support potentially the 4K resolution in some capacity. This thing, if it comes out and they design it correctly, or well, I should say. Looks like the space for the battery. Okay. It could be where this sells like gangbusters because of the graphical leap, supposedly, that it's going to be from the Switch 1 to whatever their next gen system is called, which is a huge thing, right? Again, it's still behind times of the Xbox and the PlayStation, but at the same time, it's a huge leap forward for Nintendo itself, right? Some of the games look phenomenal already on the Switch. Okay, so moving it up, okay. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when it comes out and what they show for it, and especially what games are going to launch with this system at the time they announce it, right? They announce the system, then what games are coming to it. I think a big thing could be here is that we see like a Call of Duty, like a third-party game coming to Nintendo, stuff like this, because again, this is just based off the FTC when they were doing it, and they said they signed a 10-year deal, Microsoft and Nintendo, now that they own it, okay, that they could put, and you could play. Not to say that it would be a huge successor or huge sales for them, but the fact that you can play now a Call of Duty on Nintendo in a third-party game as big as that would be huge. Would be huge not only for Microsoft's side, but it would be huge for Nintendo to get games like that to be played on the Nintendo Switch as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you think of the design? Do you like the big screen, the bigger screen? Hit me up in the comment section down below or in the live chat. Again, if you like what I do here, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Thanks for watching. Robert Jones says, no shot for 4K. No shot. Ray says, 12 gigabytes of RAM, more than Apple. 30, this is a Nintendo, not Sony. Ha ha ha. Robert Jones says, Mario 3 at 4K. It could probably do 4K 30 on certain games. Right, it all depends on what they have planned for certain games, right? Yeah, the PlayStation 5 Pro upscale 860p to 4K with the AMD chip. So Nintendo could also do better with the NVIDIA chip. GTA 6 will only hit 60 frames on the Switch 2. You know, that alone, though, not that it would be the better graphics in any way, shape, or form, Reese, but could you imagine getting GTA 6 on the Nintendo Switch, but at the Grand Theft Auto 5 graphics? Do you know what I mean? On the Switch? That would be insane. I know we look at it as, well, it's still inferior to the upper, the other consoles, but to get graphics like the PlayStation 4, right? And GTA comes onto that platform, that would be huge. That would be huge. Titan says, COD Warzone, I see it happening. 450, 550 is my guess, especially if it's OLED. I'm going to stick with my $399, $499. No, I'm sorry, $299, $399. I think it'll be $300, $400. I'm going to stick with that. Waterbear says, give me Ultimate Alliance 4 at launch, and I'll pre-order so fast. I have to admit, if that's exclusive again for the Switch, they got me again. They got me again, Water, if that's true. Z says they said 4K in some capacity. They're talking about if you hook it up to a TV, or maybe if you have an external GPU, that would be cool. Well, maybe the dock they put it in, right? Remember what I said about the Xbox, if they come out with a handheld device? Like, I don't want to buy the next Xbox if it's a handheld device, because it's a handheld device. Like, if they make it a handheld and it locks into a dock, and the dock is not just a plastic box, but it's like helps, make it a more higher end console, and then you take it off the dock and it's not as high output, then I'd be okay with that. If the Switch is doing that, that'd be interesting. You lock it into like a console and you can pop it out. Right. That's what I'm saying. Right? Like a 4K dock. Yeah. Yeah. If they do something. Papa says 30. 4K at 30 or 4K at 60 isn't hard to hit. People need to remember that Nintendo games are generally much simpler in mechanics and graphics. Also, Sony and Xbox has. It's true. Dolphin says, I see a shit... Oh, he's screaming this. Hold on. I see a shit ton of great DS games remastered. Thanks, Dolphin, for screaming. Appreciate it. I want to make sure when I read it, it comes across the way you type it. Ford says, I hope it's only on the Switch if they do one. Flip says, that's what I think it should happen if the deck should have specs in it. Warbear says, do you even know if Nintendo still has the license for Ultimate Alliance? I don't. Hopefully hopefully Disney and Marvel are not complete and utter freaking morons, and they're like, let's put it everywhere. Could have also, so you need a fangirl hand waving to it with Magic's comment. X-Men Legends 3, another Ultimate Alliance. I would love it. I would love it, Travis. Now you're going overboard. Now with that, Jones, right? You could buy just like the Nintendo Switch Lite, or just the game. You can't, no dock, right? That would be a $399, $499, or I'm sorry, $299, $399, $499, right? Where you're buying the thing and then you're plugging it in. That's what they would do. You go backwards compatible. You can play your old games and whatnot. They would never do that. They would never do that. You know how much money they would lose and how much money stores would make that have the old discs? $1,000. Gimme. Oh God. I don't think Nintendo would do that. I don't think Nintendo would do that. They'd be like, what are you, insane? Papa says, I can see the Switch hitting native on certain games. Xbox and Sony have issues because the games are so graphically and mechanically complex. Both consoles could run Nintendo games 4K native. That's true. Yeah, the simplicity of what Nintendo makes, I think, is the winner for them. What's going on, Sin? Dolphin says, I'm guessing 500. I think Nintendo wins by keeping the price low. They know they'll make the money back. $299, $399 if there's two systems. That's my guess. I'm not saying you guys are wrong with the 500. Obviously, PlayStation just put it out there by saying PlayStation 5 Pro, we're making it 700. So Nintendo's probably like, yeah, we could probably get 500 out of our system. But I think if they want to win, like they've been winning, they give that $299, $399. You gotta remember, it's the same graphical stuff potentially as the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, right? So those were $300 systems, $350 systems. I think they do the $299, $399, and that will blow them out of the water. They would destroy the console market. They would still get the 122, 130 million, 150 million with that console. There's a lot that goes into that. Obviously, they have to have the games. Obviously, it's got to be a good system. But graphically upgraded, more power, with the better graphics, with the better frame rate, like they're gonna dominate. Most screaming. All right, here we go. The Super Nintendo Switch will get me back in, and I've liked what to see, and the price is right. I want to get back to Mario Party and Mario Kart to play with the wife again. Got cap locks locked on. I just saw an article to estimate Switch 2 will be 400. I put that article in the Discord, Mike. All right, let me check it out. I hate when they use white backgrounds. We always put it, okay. The Nintendo Switch 2 reportedly confirms attractive price, dual screen design, and AI features. Okay? After years of leak and unconfirmed rumors, Nintendo could finally be ready to reveal the Switch 2 in a short while. A new report alleges that the console marries better battery life with more performance and also enhanced screen. Increasingly, the report also suggests that the Switch 2 to have a dual screen design. Okay. The rumor will also start churning information out faster as we also move closer to the launch of the product. The same is looking for true for the Nintendo Switch, since the proposed reveal date falls sometime next month. It seems that there is some new information every other day. For instance, we reported last week that the next-gen Switch will be called the Switch Superior and bringing magnet Joy-Cons to the bigger display and more, which confirms by the pictures that we just saw, the magnetized stuff. Right, the dual-screen Nintendo Switch 2 with bigger battery life. Taiwan Economic Daily reports that the market speculation of the Switch 2 will come with a larger display, more battery life, better performance, and AI functions. The machine translates to the native Chinese text, also points out the enhanced screen processing. This could also be referring to the refresh rate of Switch 2, the display, which some past rumors have claimed it would be 120 hertz. Okay. Curiously, the publication also mentions that the Nintendo Switch 2 is a dual-screen system at first glance. This looks to be pointing to Nintendo DS-like design. Although unlikely, there's real possibility since Nintendo has a vast backlog of DS and 3DS titles that you can also port to the next-gen system, which is what Dolphin was saying, bringing back all the DS stuff, right? We're bringing all the DS stuff. It says they also said unlikely that the Switch 2 is a dual-screen console like the DS. Also, we've yet to hear trustworthy sources mentioned in this development. Now, the dual-screen terminology could also mean that the Switch 2 might function a bit like the Nintendo Wii U, which would be interesting. Hopefully, it doesn't perform like the Nintendo Wii U. Okay. Nintendo Switch also launched the Wii U in November of 2012 as follow-up to the popular Nintendo Wii, and the console had a novel design, but the Wii U gamepad controls with a bit of display traditional console box that connected to a TV in the way of the Wii U gamepad could also be used in conjunction with the TV to provide dual-screen experience. So the Switch 2 has a dual-screen function like the Wii U. It can expect the console to boost some neat party tricks like the split game UI. Nintendo Switch 2 price. In addition to the hardware information, Taiwan Economic Daily also suggests the Nintendo Switch 2 price of $400. This is also in line with the reporting from last week, where they argued that $400 is indeed the accurate MSRP of the next-gen Switch, is a solid price for the console. I think that is a solid price for the console, right? And again, if they do two versions, maybe they do a down the road, if they do a light where it's like $350, $300, I'll stick with my $299, $399. Okay. Long story short, Nintendo 2 Switch is shaping up to be a big upgrade over the current Switch. And its proposed hardware enhancements end up true. If the Nintendo has a killer launch lineup, it will not be hard to imagine the Switch 2 becoming a phenomenon like its predecessor. Right. It's obviously, right? It doesn't take a genius to think about that, right? If they have a good lineup of games, which we know they will, right? But if they come out swinging and tell you that Mario, if they come out and tell you if it's a dual screen stuff, right? If it's a dual screen thing and they come out with all these remasters and remakes of the DSs back in the day, like, what the hell? You know what I mean? They're going to knock it out of the park. I mean, the rumors right here say it's $400. And that's if it's a dual screen. None of that's been proven, though, yet. So we'll see. I'm telling you, Nintendo won't put that price that up high. They won't put it that high. I don't think they do the $500. Nintendo is Nintendo. And the reason they are around as long as they have been is because they're so popular that they don't need, they'll eat the cost for a bit because they know they'll make the sales. Can you imagine if they bring all those DS games back? That alone would sell that console. Dual screen means a TV or your Switch 2. No, they're talking about a dual screen. Or they're talking about, in the article, they talk about both, Titan. They talk about a dual screen like the 3DS or like the Wii U, where it could be the dual screen where you have it and then it also goes up on your television set, right? They talked about it both in that article. Right, exactly, Argus. Nintendo knows their market, and the high-priced console isn't their market. Right. Sony knows their market, and that's why they charge what they charge. This is why they can charge $500 for the VR headset. This is why they can charge $200 for the PlayStation Portal. They know their clientele, and Nintendo knows their clientele. I just saw a picture of the two screens, if it's real. Did you post that in Discord? I mean, they have said they're not doing handheld anymore, so that might be that their way of having both. It would also be backwards compatibility with the 3DS and the Switch. Interesting. They said they're not doing? They said that they're not doing a handheld anymore? Can you imagine if the Switch being a legit place to play more third-party games? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If they can graphically bring it up to the PlayStation 4, PlayStation or Xbox One era of graphics, we had awesome games during that time frame, right? Graphically intense games. But now you're playing on a Nintendo that way. It's going to be huge for them. Huge for Nintendo. Oh, well, that's the screen. Oh, you're behind. You're behind. Yeah, no, we don't know the dual screen. We don't know if that's the dual screen. I don't know if you're talking about this. That's not the dual screen. It might be, but it might be just two different versions. Or they might be comparing the old. This is the old one compared to the new screen. We don't know if that's the actual dual screen. Right? This is the kickstand. This is the kickstand from the original. Right? And this is the new one. They're comparing the two. So it's going to be a bigger screen. I don't think that's the dual screen. Well, it's magnetized, Titan. So it is magnetized. If they do the dual screen, the Joy-Cons are magnetized. They just clip onto the sides. They don't slide in anymore, according to the leaks. Well, here's the thing. I'll go back to these pictures so you can see. Okay, the screens. I don't think it's the old one and the new one, and here's why I say that. Because if you look at the side of this one and the side of this one, this is the old version of the slide-in Titan. And this is the one where it's magnetized, which they show in the other picture, right? So this is going to be two magnets right here, okay? The magnets right here, right? Those are the buttons, the top bumpers, right? These are the magnets that slide into this part right here, okay? Where this one slides in. This one, it gets attached to the side. This is why I don't think this is the top screen, bottom screen. I think this is the comparison of the old model to the new model. Okay? That's what I think. Right? So exactly the same. This is the new Joy-Cons, okay? Again, these are the magnets, okay? And this is the bumpers, and it just attaches to the sides of the actual controllers, because these are the new controllers. Okay? Again, this is based off of pictures that we don't know if they're real. Okay? But that's what I think it is. I don't think it's the two different screens. I think that's the comparison. Sin says, now I know I'm mad late with this, but I just finished Loki Season 2, which came out last year, right? I haven't even watched it myself, Sin. And the past weekend, and wow, they may be the best finale for an MCU show to date. Now I'm really sad that the majors got fired. Right, so it's all for naught. It's all for naught. Now, I haven't seen that, and I haven't seen the new Deadpool thing, so I'm really lost on the Time Authority, right? But I want to watch it because I heard good things about it. Well, what it looks like when I say magnets, they say it's magnetized here, but here, if you look at this again, inside of this piece, you can see there's a connector, right? So that means inside of this. Oh wait, can I get the other picture? Inside of this groove, there's got to be a plug that plugs in. So not only does it just click, but it slides into the connector piece, and the magnets hold it in there, and it looks like it's pretty deep based off of this. So who knows? Again, we're just looking at it, and I'm speculating off of what we're looking at. Don't know for sure. World says, now I know. Oh, no, I wouldn't want Nintendo to go that route. The way that they're doing things works almost perfectly. Just need a hardware that holds 30 frames per second and at least at all times, and give the devs time to polish. Nintendo's always been pretty good at polishing their games. Besides the Pokemon debacle type of stuff, most of their games are pretty polished when it comes out. And again, if they can bring it up to what PlayStation 4 and Xbox One was in the Nintendo world, that's huge. That's huge. Hopefully the magnets are good and you're dropping the Switch too. Yeah, I think they lock in. It'll be like a snug, like, you know what I mean, type of thing. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't make the same sound, right? Because that whole the Switch, I wonder if it's like makes that same sound when you lock them in. There's a little click sound. I'm trying to see if the button on the back of the controller, like, how would you... I'm trying to look at some of the pictures here. How would you unlock it? See, now I don't know if the bumper on the back is the mechanism. So I don't know if this is the mechanism, if this is a third bumper, because you can look at the pictures where they have a bumper here and a bumper here, but then they have this third one trigger on the back. Okay. Or is this the button that you push to unlock the magnets from the actual thing? I don't know. Because I don't see any kind of button or anything. And it would be kind of awkward because you would have to hold the Switch and then like pull one out and then hold the Switch and pull the other one out. Because you're right. I wouldn't think they would make a bad product where it would fall. You know what I mean? Maybe a software unlock? Maybe. What would be a killer launch game you would like to see? A killer launch game for Nintendo, first party title. I would like to see Firefox. If they could do a nice Firefox game with the updated graphics and whatnot, I would take a Firefox. Not Firefox, Jesus Christ. I'm thinking of the browser, Star Fox. Thank you very much. I'm terrible with names. Yeah, Star Fox, not Firefox. That Firefox is the browser, right? Star Fox. Right? That would be cool. That would be cool. Then I would also just a third party game that's not even a launch. Well, it's a launch title for the Switch, but not a launch, not a new game. I would love to see third party games that were running on the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, now playing on the Switch. Yeah, I want the Firefox browser on there. I told you COVID fucked up my brain when it comes to remembering names and whatnot. Yeah, third party Ultimate Alliance 4 would be a cool title to see. I don't think about the GTA 6 exclusive. I don't think that's happening. Reese says, although launching a web browser would be a unique strategy. Yeah, I don't think that. I totally misspoke there. You knew what I meant. You knew what I meant. World says Mario Kart, Mario Odyssey type game, Fire Emblem, Super Smash, Pokemon, Metroid, Zelda, Internal. Yeah, we all know those are all going to come, though, right? Obviously, you know all of those are going to come at some point. I'm more excited to see what Nintendo does with the updated graphics. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know you're going to get your Mario Brothers, you know you're getting your Zelda game, you know you're getting your Mario Kart, you know you're getting your Mario Party, you know you're getting probably fucking the Switch Sports or whatnot. You know that the ones that are always coming out. I'm more excited to see third-party games. Like, I think it would be cool if you could play a Red Dead Redemption on the Nintendo Switch 2, or whatever the hell they call it, right? If you could play a Grand Theft Auto 6 on the Nintendo Switch, but at, you know, PlayStation, but Grand Theft Auto 5 graphics on the Switch version of it. It's like Grand Theft Auto 5 is not bad graphics, you know what I mean? If you could play 6, but on the Switch with the 5 graphics, that'd be huge for them. Hell, I would love to see a Castlevania game again. Like a new version of Castlevania. I just want to see Pal World on a Nintendo product. Oh, that I don't know. I mean, that would be interesting, Krebsy, because they would be very competitive. They don't want like a multiverses go up against their, you know, Smash Brothers. I don't think they want Pal World to go up against their Pokemon games. That'd be interesting. Chris says, Nintendo doesn't eat the cost on anything unless it was a failure, forcing them to drop the price. Nintendo never drops the price. Yeah, but I don't think they're losing money if they put it at $3.99, $4.99. I'm sorry, $2.99, $3.99. Right? I still think they would make money off of that. Plus, they would make their money back if they did lose. I'm not talking about they would lose like hundreds of dollars off of a thing. Right? I think $2.99 for a smaller Switch and a $3.99 for the bigger version, if they're doing two versions. If they're just doing the one version, then it would be the $400. Eclipse says it could happen. They put Temtem on the Switch. It'd be interesting to see if they do it. I mean, obviously, Nintendo would love to make money, right? I think more people are interested to see more third-party games going on Nintendo. I don't think Nintendo would hate it, because obviously their first-party titles will sell, and then more people would buy the systems to play the third-party games on there as well. Right, Worlds, and that's what I'm saying. Even if I'm not saying if they lose money, I'm not talking about the $200 loss that that Xbox is making off each of the Xbox Series X. We're talking like couple bucks, which they would make back off the internet that you pay for the different features. They would make off of the different peripherals that they're making. They would make off if they had a different stand that they're attaching it to, so you could play off the actual television set. Like there's tons of different ways that they can make the cost of the money up. Power World is a better than the new Pokemon game that came out. Sure, but they also, I don't know if they would want. I mean, obviously, look, if you have a competitor that's making more money than you and you don't have it on your system, then that means those people are playing that game on someone else's system, which means they're not playing on your system. So you would be better off putting that game on your system, because that means they would buy your system to play that game. Right, can you imagine that, Krebsy? They're still supporting the older systems, right? EA has released an Xbox One and PlayStation 5 version of Jedi Survivor yesterday. Why is that? That's because EA left money on the table. They know a lot of people haven't upgraded to the new systems, and they're like, well, how do we get that market? Well, let's take the game and bring it to them. Kudapapa says the Switch Lite came out 2 years after the Switch 1 model at launch, and with the Lite to follow at 1 to 2 years, and the upgrade version at 2 to 3 years. I'm not liking Disney making prequels to their IPs. What prequel? Which one are you talking about, Chris? Which what's the prequel that they made? I don't know. I'm asking. I know there is. I just can't think of. Because I know they made prequels in the past that used to go to like straight to DVD or VHS back in the day. But what IPs are you talking about? The Mufasa movie. I don't like prequels myself, and I've had this conversation on stream before. There's no drama in prequels. You already know what happens. You know what I mean? Travis says, mark it down, 30. I said 6 to 7 million month one for Monster Hunter Wilds. If I'm wrong, I'll buy a membership somehow. Okay. Sounds good. I don't know. Nintendo seems to find release last gen third party because I know of someone will buy. But with cloud gaming, they may want to change that. Yeah, we don't even know if there's what's it called? We don't even know if there's a cloud system inside this console, you know? From Aliens franchise. Oh, I forgot that Disney owns it. See, when you said Disney films, Chris, I was thinking of the animated movies and whatnot. Yeah, I don't like prequels. Doesn't matter if I'm a huge fan. Like, I totally understand. Like, for instance, I love 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars. 1, 2, and 3 came out. They're good films, and obviously they fill in the gaps. But we knew that Anakin Skywalker was going to become Darth Vader. That's not a but you saw how he became Darth Vader, which is fine, right? But if you look at like prequels of they're hanging on the edge of the building, is he going to die? There's no tension there. There's no tension because you know he's not going to die. So I hate stuff like that. That's why I don't like prequels. But if they tell a story of why did Mufasa, or why did aliens, why they did a certain way and how they got to the certain point, then I guess I can like it. But for the most part, they don't do that. They try to give you false attachment, which there's none of, because you know nothing's going to happen to that person. Like, obviously, if they did the prequels, right? Imagine this, right? Let's say Star Wars did the prequels, but they followed Luke when he was a kid and not his father. It would be stupid, because you're like, well, I know he grows up and he becomes a thing. But with Darth Vader, you know the story of him becoming Darth Vader, like he's Darth Vader, but you're like, well, how did he become? What turned him into that? That's different, right? Because you already know he is and how he dies, but how did he become? And all the stuff that went around it. That's why they centered around different characters and not the characters from the original. It was dramatic when he killed all those kids. Yeah, you're like, holy shit, that's pretty dark, right? That's pretty dark. Right. But I didn't watch Prey, right? But that's the Predator one, right? That's the Predator movie, Jay Breezy. But that gives you a that they've been there before, right? So it's not the same. It's not the same Predator. Okay. Right, but it's so they came during this time frame and they've been coming back ever since up until the thing. You know what I'm saying? That's different. I didn't see the new Aliens movie, so I don't know what the story is of the Aliens movie. It adds to what you already know, but just a small little thread that goes through it. If you make a prequel, you got to make it where, like, if Solo, right? Solo was actually a pretty good movie, right? But it tells you the stories of Han Solo, but there's no drama if you put him in. Is he going to get away from them? Are they going to get blown up? You know the answer to that, right? That doesn't make it a better thing. So there are good ways to do prequels, and there's bad ways to do prequels. If you could tell me a story why he became the way he became, then that's a good story. Yeah, but Predator 2 was a shit movie. Was it Predator 2? Is that with Danny Glover? Right, Sin? Is that with Danny Glover? That was terrible. That was terrible. Don't they use, and again, I remember watching a review of Prey. Isn't there a shot of the gun in Prey that they show and that's what they connected to Predator 2? Or something along the lines of that? Again, I haven't seen it. Yeah, we'll get around to it, Travis. I'll watch it with my wife. See, what I like about Star Wars is an example. I always bring this up. When Obi-Wan talks about his Luke's father and says, "I fought with your father in the Clone Wars." The Clone Wars, and you think to yourself, "What is the Clone Wars?" And then they went back and made the Clone Wars, right? Like, there's a lot that happened in the Clone Wars. Like one line, and the whole fucking thing takes place around the Clone Wars, right? Like, that's cool to me, right? But putting Obi-Wan in danger in the Clone Wars, you're like, is he gonna make it? Right? You already know that he lives and how he dies. So there's no tension around that character ever. So the chase scene where he jumps out of the vehicle and holds on to the drone and you're like, oh my God, is he gonna, like, you know, nothing happens to him. You know, when he's fighting Grievous, there's nothing going to happen to him. You know all those things that are going to happen to him. Well, actually, it's Anakin that jumps out, but you know what I'm talking about, right? There's no drama there. Boba Fett alone created a whole fan base. Yeah, for doing nothing, by just standing there and looking badass. Oh, wait, no. Obi-Wan jumps out the window. Anakin jumps out of the car. That's what it is. Yeah, plot armor. It's the same gun from Predator 2. Yeah. New gun ray is memorable just for the memes. I would never do anything to an officer. Your Highness. Like, stereotype. I never thought about it. Thanks for ruining all prequels for me. Oh, you're welcome, Dolphin. I could ruin a lot more for movies for you. Behind the scene movies of certain things. If you want. And then when I say it to you, every time you watch a TV show or a movie, you're going to see it, and then you're going to fucking hate me. Because I know how it's made. I'm going to check Twitter real fast before. Make sure you guys hit that like button down below. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you're here for 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, I do appreciate you. The only moment I liked in Obi-Wan was when Darth Vader was battling Obi-Wan and said, it wasn't you that killed Anakin, Obi-Wan. It was me. With that voice changing. Yeah, it was cool with the little light and the way they did it. Look, there's glimmers of hope in that thing, but I hated the whole thing. Should have never happened. That whole thing should have never happened, Argus. Obi-Wan never left Tatooine. Have you ever heard the actual script that they were going to do? I think Star Wars Theory talked about it. About the person that wrote the original script for Obi-Wan that they didn't use. Talks about what was supposed to happen. And then if he was going to leave, he was going to have Cody come in and watch what's it called? Watch Skywalker while he left the planet and whatnot. But, you know, they didn't do any of that shit. Princess Leia wasn't part of it at all. Who's Cody? Cody was Obi-Wan's like right-hand clone trooper. Like he was his general. Rex and Cody were like the two main officers in the Clone Wars. They were part of the 501st. Have you never seen the Clone Wars? Titan, have you ever watched the animated series, The Clone Wars? If you haven't, I suggest you do. It's some of the best content for Star Wars. We all know Frodo is the greatest clone trooper. Get out of here. Well, the Clone Wars came way before the Book of Boba Fett. The Clone Wars is an animated show that came out in like 2004, 2007 or something like that. No, when did Clone Wars come out? Hold on. Yeah, 2003. Yeah, it originally came out in 2003. And then the Clone Wars came out in 2008. So there was a small little Clone Wars series in 2003. Then the Clone Wars show came out in 2008. There's two different Clone Wars. There's that weird looking style, which is really badass. If you've ever seen it, Mace Windu comes out and destroys like a whole army of droids and whatnot, where he falls out of the sky. It's really cool. But that's different than the actual animated one in 2008. But that's the reason that one got made. I don't know if Filoni makes really good animated. He doesn't make good live action. Stick with the animated stuff. Bad Batch that came out is really good as well. Bad Batch is a really good show if you guys want to watch that. A lot of people don't want to watch cartoons, so they want the cartoon made into a live action, and I don't think it's needed. I think the stories that they told in the Clone Wars is just fantastic. What are we talking about now? Spaceballs? No, Star Wars. Oh yeah, it was with his hands, wasn't it? Just so badass. He's just like falling out of the sky and then lands on the ground. Big dust cloud happens and he destroys. It's so good. So good. Yeah, the Ahsoka show, you didn't need to make it. They could have just made Rebels and just continued Rebels animated show. It would have been much better. What do you mean they messed up the Clone Wars? Eclipse? Wait, what are you talking about? The Clone Wars show was great. Even the last season they did of Clone Wars with the Ahsoka and the whole thing. What a great ending. Even though it was like 7 years too late. That's the only thing they've done well is the Clone Wars cartoon. But it was made before they bought it. They bought it in 2012. It was already 4 years in. Can you imagine Disney's owned the company for 13 years? 12 years? 12 years. That's crazy. Dark Helmet is greater than Kylo Ren. Not false. Not false. Yeah, Clone Wars, Rebels, and Bad Batch, all three great animated shows that tell awesome stories. If you're a Star Wars fan, you only know about the movies and stuff, I suggest you go watch it. If you have kids, go introduce them to that so you feel like you're better. You don't want to watch a cartoon as an adult, but they're fantastic. I didn't know Dead Rising remake came out today. I didn't even know they were doing that. Yeah, go check that out. Go check that out in the Discord. All right. That is going to do it for us today. If you guys like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern. We go over most of the time. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, to play Shooting the Shit with Sarge over on Borderlands 2. We'll continue doing the bunker run tonight over on stream, 8 p.m. tonight. Make sure you guys come out and hang out with us for that. If you don't come out tonight, we'll be back tomorrow for 10 o'clock in the morning. And then we'll also be back tomorrow evening for Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. You can also listen or watch us. I've been uploading the past broadcasts of this morning show. If you don't want to watch it on YouTube because you don't have, you can't listen to radio mode, you can go to Spotify. I've uploaded the last 2 weeks or so, and slowly upgrading. And once I catch up, every day after we're done with the morning show, I will upload it directly to Spotify afterwards, so you can listen to it over there as well. We do the Chatting with podcast is over there, the Daily Grind is over there, and Generation X Gaming is over there. So if you're on Spotify, do a search for 30NSG, and you'll see all the podcasts pop up. I do appreciate it very much. Make sure you guys Have a great rest of your day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. I appreciate you very much, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.